Let's do it. I'm Black Hannibal, running through your capital on elephants. Civilize a savage with my elegance. Militant intelligence, run through your defense. Strike like a ninja, slice, cut, and injure. Leave no prisoners, just bodies on the battlefield. A Spartacus with a sword and shield. Something like a marksman with cold blue steel. War paint on my face, keep my identity concealed. Advance on your camp like dozens of killer ants. Snatch your king like chess, checkmate is his death. While my team have fun with your queen. Throw your bishops off the roof, your knights flee the scene. I plant bombs in the home of your pawns. The detonation shook the foundation of your rooks. Holding shotguns with double barrels. They impact so hard when it blasts through your body travels. Street Spartacus. Black Spartacus. Black Spartacus. Black Spartacus. Black Spartacus. Black Spartacus. Burn your flag as I overthrow your government. New politics, no Democrats and Republicans. Spiritual systems built by wise men who's true in living. The foundation's no longer Christian. Teaching universally the wisdom of the nations. New currency, no more dollar bills with white faces. No more Caucasian domination. All races participating, cultivating education. The people hungry and they ain't waiting. No more debating. Let's overthrow the haven to Satan. This whole world needs some new changes. Rulers with new faces. It's time to take out the racists. Spartacus from the new ages. From the page to the stage, pull a blade on the money changers. Spartacus from the new ages. From this page to the stage, pull a blade on the money changers. All right, let me make sure y'all can hear me. If you can hear me, put a 1 in the chat. If you are here, put a 1 in the chat. Let me know. All right, should be good now. Y'all should be able to hear me. Shout out to everybody who's in the building. Soul Matters, Eileen. All right, and those who are to come. All right, if you are here, let me know where you are. You guys know it's burning hot. I love to take showers. Okay, thank you, Eileen. Y'all can hear me okay. I love to take showers right before I do this, right? But every time, last time I did a live in here and took a shower, I was sweating. So I'm doing the same thing now, but I like to take a shower because I like to clear my energy. You know, I like to clear my mind. I'm a water sign, Scorpio. So, and I'm on the cusp, Libra, Scorpio, so air and water. So I get a lot of downloads, a lot of ideas, a lot of visions, a lot of planning when I'm in the shower. And I wanted to share this story that came to me while I was in the shower with you guys. And hopefully, excuse me, it'll give you some insight. Let me just readjust this mic real quick into what this video is about and some of what this season is about. You know, there's a lot of talk about aliens and trans and all these different things that are happening in the world, Carly Russell disappearance and just a lot of things. And right now is a time that you really want to be very, very self-focused in this Leo season and not so much selfless but more selfish. And there's a time and place for everything, right? There's a time and place for selfishness. And a lot of people don't step into their power because they are too selfless. They're too want to save the world. They're too want to fix the world. They're too want to do something for someone else instead of themselves, right? And they're not living their truth, all right? That is the main thing, that they're not living their truth. And that's what this season really is about. It's really about living your truth. So real quick, and then we will get into the bulk. I got some slides for y'all that I can't wait to share. I remember when I was, I won't say too much younger, but I remember this was maybe when I first started getting into the esoteric, the occult, or ancestral veneration and ancestral communication. So I had my altar up, right? And I remember I met this girl, right, outside of Chicken spot. Shout out to Chicken, right? If you saw my last video, me battling with chicken, you understand the significance of chicken to me, right? Especially hot wings, all right? Especially them fucking hot wings. And I went to the chicken spot and I met this girl, we just kind of locked eyes or whatever, and it was like synergy. And she came over. Like it wasn't long, you know what I'm saying? She came over, she went home, came, got some stuff and came to the crib, right? So I had my altar up. And I remember, like when she came, I was like, oh shit, my altar's up, right? And my altar has like a statue of Papa Legba, the water, the crystals, some money, right? Some coins, keep copper. Copper's a natural conductor. So I keep copper. That's if I don't have a crystal, I usually have copper pennies on my altar as a conductor of energy. Because that's your altar is basically a vortex, right? Of energy, right? It's a ball. It's literally like your sunlight, right? Your light, where you get your light codes, right? From your ancestors. And it's a communication device, really, right? And it's a device that you use to basically, you could, do your rituals and, put things out there for manifestation, protection, all the things that come with this beautiful lifestyle of magic, right? Or manifestation. And I have my altar up. So I'm deconstructing. So I'm starting to deconstruct the altar when she comes in, right? If she comes in, I'm like, oh shit, let me start to break this down. I'm like, oh, my bad. I'm going to take this down. I don't want you to feel scared. And she goes, what? Right? And this is the power of women. You know what I'm saying? She goes, what? What are you doing? Like, why are you taking this down? I was like, nah, I don't want to scare you. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you to feel a certain way. I want you to, feel comfortable. And she's like, boy, don't ever take anything down in your house for anybody. I don't care who it is. She's like, this is your place. You pay your own rent. You pay your own bills, I'm assuming, right? Don't take your altar down for anyone. Don't do that. Like if someone comes in your home and they don't respect who you truly are and what you are truly about, then they don't need to be in your home. You know what I'm saying? They don't need to be there. This is your safe space. And I never forgot that, right? So right now it's really about that type of energy, being yourself, standing on your square, standing in your purpose, standing in who you are, and telling people who and what you are unapologetically. So let's start with space weather and let's see what's going on in nature and what's going on in our environment, right? Hollow, basically put them on skates, right? And this is the season where these urges are coming up in you right now, and it's going to become worse as time goes on, right? It's going to become worse. Peace to Philip Bourne. There's going to be worse as time goes. There's going to be more and more people that are going to be shifting and changing, and they don't know why, and they don't know what's going on. They don't understand these urges. And what's going to be the negative aspect, a lot of people are going to start drinking heavy. They're going to start drugging heavy, right? They're going to start multiple forms of escapism because there's a natural urge to shift into being your true self. It's going to be more materialism being pushed, right? It's going to be more hypersexuality being pushed. Anything to avoid you, A, doing the shadow work, right? Working with and healing your childhood trauma, and B, taking the risk and being courageous, which is what Leo season is about, and stepping out into who you truly are and what you are naturally, what you came here, why the sperm hit the egg, why are you in existence, what is your purpose. And a lot of this is also tied into your sun signs, right? So like Hollow was saying, this time to put some people on skates. But let's look at what's going on in nature, right? Because I'm sure you guys have heard and that what they've been what I've been talking about these things. If you follow me, I've been talking about solar flares and since 2019, right? When this wasn't even a popular thing. But I've been talking about solar flares and how you could utilize that energy for your best interests. So this is today's solar flare report. So let's look at it. So solar flare and radial blackout updated. Okay. Giant sunspot AR 33. Okay. 6 54 9 9 and 6. Uh, 9 and 6. That adds up to, wait, let me not embarrass myself. 15 and 5 and 1 and 6. So you got 6 energy, which is balance. Okay. All with this energy, okay, coming out to express your truth. So this erupted today on June 29th, producing an M3A class solar flare, okay, and short wave radio blackout over the Atlantic Ocean. All right. So they're saying when this week began, sunspot AR3354 didn't exist. Now it's 10 times wider than Earth and still growing. All right. The sunspot burst into view on June 27th, breaching the surface of the sun. Okay. It says AR3354 is so big, amateur astronomers can see details normally reserved for the world's greatest telescopes. Okay. So basically, with a little telescope, right, in your home that you got from Amazon or whatever, you could literally look up in the sky and they're saying you could see these details of the sun that the world's greatest telescopes are. I'm sure you guys are feeling the heat, okay? Today in New York, I think it hit like 90 something. They said it felt like 110, all right? So we are in a very, very interesting time, all right, with solar flares, solar energy, okay, causing blackouts and things like that. And this deals with the fire that you have inside as well. All right. We're gonna let's go into the slides and talk about uh Leo season and get this set up. Please hit that like button as you are here so we could share some more of this information. All right. So let's get into these slides. We're moving a little fast. Let's go back. All right. So we're in Leo season right now, right? Leo, bold, intelligent, warm, right? And courageous. Uh Natural fire, okay. Leader ready to blaze a trail, vanquish injustice, okay. So you're seeing a lot of people rise up, right? Seeing, and Leo is I am, all right. That's the mantra for Leo. We're gonna repeat that a couple of times during this. But now is the time to be bold. You know what they say, fortune favors the bold, okay? So your boldness is going to be rewarded in this season. This is the type of season where now is where if you really step into your power and your purpose, you're going to be able to see things manifest quickly. Not only physical things, but characteristics. If you step and take risk and step into your true power and your true purpose and express who you truly are, people are going to respond to it. Some people are going to respond negatively. Those are the people that you need to let go. There are some people that are going to respond positively. Those are the people that you need to keep around. But this is where we currently are. This is the energy that we are under right now. So you want to really be looking at where you are playing yourself short. Are you too humble? Are you not speaking up for yourself? Are you not expressing who you truly are? Are you in relationships with people and you're not being your true self? You're not being your true, living your true nature. You're studying spirituality, but you're hiding it from your boyfriend, or you're hiding it from your girlfriend or your husband or your wife, right? You don't talk about these things when you're around certain people. Now, I'm not saying go to the barbecue on Labor Day, right? You're going to be talking about metaphysics and, Orion's belt and Sirius B and all these different type of things, and how Labor Day is wicked because because of capitalism and how it keeps people poor and poverty is needed to establish a base for capitalism, right? These are not things you talk about in these environments. But if somebody asks you, you should be able to speak out on these things unapologetically, right? You should be unapologetic about who you truly are and what you truly are. Now is the time also where you could break a lot of bad habits, okay? You could blaze a trail, okay? And vanquish injustice. And you see that they had the strikes with, which they resolved recently, but they had the UPS strike. And, they would think, and I think there was like a train strike or something with it, which they resolved. But this is the time period and this is the energy that we are in at this time. So if you're not being bold, if you're not, I was doing a reading and I was talking to somebody, and they were talking about their relationship with their significant other, and they were saying how they're not like they're like there's things that they don't like. For instance, they want to go out more, right? They want to be more adventurous and things like that, but they never tell the person, right? Because this person is helping them pay bills, right? And it's like, the mantra I gave this person was like, the Rocky mantra, right? This is Rocky time. Like, you know, uh, I forgot the name of the song, but it deals with I forgot the name of the song, but it deals with the heart of a lion as well. And when I think it's Rocky 2 or Rocky 3, rather, when he was fighting a Russian, and the Russian was like, if he dies, he dies, right? If he dies, he dies. And that's the mantra, right? That's what you have to think of with these people that are surrounding you that aren't doing any good. You have to realize that you are in control and you are able to change and manipulate energy to your benefit. This is what this magic, this is what this spiritual path, this is what the watching the videos and the lectures and reading the books. And it's not just about being smart. It's not just about having water cooler talk. It's not about just outsmarting your friends. It's about you being able to be your true self unapologetically, any place on the planet, being able to explain your ideas clearly and effectively and also concisely, and also aligning with people that think when your wavelength and think in your vibration as long as it is beneficial to you, right? Not just people that complain about the government and about science and about uh well, not science, but who complain about government too, scientists, the secret societies, everything wrong that's happening in the world, right? You want to be around people that are of like mind. As the scripture says, you want to be evenly yoked, right? And the yolk is in the middle of the egg. The yolk is the heart of the egg. So if you're in a relationship with somebody and that they're not serving you, right? They're just serving you financially, then you need to come up with a plan, right? In your mind that is going to help you to get out of that situation. And no one could do that but you, right? There's no ritual, there's no spell, there's no conjure, right? Those things will help you, right? But you have to actually step out of your comfort zone and do that. And if you can't do it right now, make a plan so that you can do it and you can take care of yourself. And the universe will reward you, but you got to make those steps. All right. So that's what this is about. Leo, the negative keywords, controlling, dogmatic, right? Demanding, intolerant, patronizing, right? People that are, telling you what you want to hear, telling you what sounds good, right? A lot of that is going on the internet, People are talking about Bronny James was a sacrifice. On my last video, I was talking about dragons. People talking about dragons in the sky and three suns, and you know, now it's the aliens, which we're going to get into. All these, patronizing you. This is the time where this is happening. Trying to even spiritually, right? Trying to twist your direction as to where you need to focus, right? By giving you what they think that you want or what they think they're going to feed you, right? In order to control you. Stubbornness, all right? Now's the time for change. Again, it's the easiest time on the planet for you to change any type of Leo season is the easiest time on the planet for you to break any bad habit because of the solar energy, all right? The energy of your soul, okay? We'll get into that. Unyielding, okay? Boastful, right? You're always talking about yourself. You're always talking shit. Sometimes this is just a lot of people that talk this shit and always, boastful and stuff like that. They're basically hiding behind their ego. Okay. The negative aspect of Leo is being an egomaniac as well, right? You gotta argue everything and you can never be the one that agrees to disagree, right? Leo is not the type to agree to disagree. All right. A negative aspect of Leo. They're not gonna agree to disagree. They're arrogant, right? Headstrong, okay? Oversensitive. All right. We know a lot of people, especially in the hood, right? Especially in the hood, oversensitive people, right? But they seem to be thugs. They seem to be tough or gals, right? They're gangsters. But if you say a little bit of something to them, they quick to pop off. They quick to start yelling. They quick to start going at you, right? So oversensitive, temperamental, right? Cunning, all right? Manipulative, bossy, quick-tempered, vain, all right? And these are things that you want to check yourself with. And the reason a lot of these energies are even coming up is because of the fire within. And if you don't control the fire within by breaking habits, by being courageous, by being a leader and leading yourself, not following the crowd, right? By blazing trails, vanquishing any type of injustice in your life, right? You're going to basically tap into your brain's R complex. And that R complex, or that reptilian complex in the brain, is going to tap you into your animal nature. The R complex of the brain is what deals with rhythm. It deals with vibrations, right? It deals with urges, what y'all call the demi urge that runs the earth. That's just a metaphor, right? From my perspective, that's just a metaphor of you being earthbound, or your energy being earthbound, right? And you being grounded in the animal that you are housed in, this animal vehicle or avatar that you're housed in. You do have animal in you. There's another part of your brain, not only the reptilian complex, that is bringing chi or kundalini up the spine, because that is the energy on a positive aspect, or the positive side of it, that is bringing energy up the spine. And then you have a limbic system, which is directly tied into your mammalian brain, right? Or the mammal that you are. And that deals with your emotions specifically. So this is a time where you're not only tapping into that snake type energy, but you're tapping into that mammalian type energy. If you don't tap into the third brain, or the third eye, which is the prefrontal cortex, where your pineal, right, the amygdala, and the hippocampus. The amygdala, when you take in something, right, you see a girl with a fat ass, for instance, you like, that looks good. Your amygdala recognizes fat asses are good. It goes to the hippocampus. The hippocampus says, oh, I'm going to remember this. Fat asses look good, right? Then your hypothalamus secretes things to your pituitary gland, and your pituitary gland regulates those hormones. So that's how it goes. But if you're not engaging that part of the brain, if you're not raising the energy to entrain through repetition that part of the brain, it's not going to happen. All right. So let's continue moving. Shout out to Straight Panther in the building. Shout out to Junkyard Jedi in the building. All right. I see you. I see you. Smash that like button, guys. If you are here, I appreciate it. All right. Let's continue to move on to the next slide. So this was yesterday when I started crafting this. And this is the same Sunspot AR3354. All right, developed a beta gamma magnetic field that harbors energy for strong solar flares. All right, and let me do this. Give me 1 second. I see I'm. Let's do this. 1 second, y'all. All right. So that harbors strong energy for strong solar flares. NOAA forecasters estimate a 40% chance of M-class flares and a 10% chance of X flares, all right? X flares, or X-ray flares, all right? We're going to talk about this X flares, or X-ray flares, in the next slide, all right? Any eruptions will likely to be geo-effective as the sunspot is turning to face Earth, all right? So it's basically yesterday talking about the sunspot, and the sunspot erupted today, all right? Hence, you're going to see a lot of strong energy. Also, we have a supermoon that is coming next Tuesday, full moon in Aquarius, which we will talk about with the Zodiac Queens tomorrow at 1 p.m. Divine Feminine Works and the Moon Mama. So be there tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. All right, let's continue keeping it moving. So X-rays, or X-flares, are crown chakra and third eye stimulators, okay? A third eye stimulators. All right. So when these X flares, right, which we just saw, these X flares, right, are erupting, what's happening is your crown chakra and your third eye are being stimulated, right? As it says here, X flares also have the potential to create global transmission problems and worldwide blackouts. All right. So you see, that's what happened. All right. There were blackouts today. All right. And transmission problems. So if it is causing global transmission problems and worldwide blackouts, what do you think is happening to your physical body, to your avatar body? Your avatar body is changing, right? It's going through black. It's going through transmission problems. There's an overload of energy. What we have under this, under where it says X flares also have the potential, right? Under this is what they call the electromagnetic spectrum. Okay, the electromagnetic spectrum. As you see, there is a limited amount that we see in the universe itself, right? You can see in the middle where this little umbrella is, we see very little of the known universe. Very, very little. Okay. Radio waves, obviously, we don't see. I'm under this little uh, graph chart line right here, going from right to left. Heat, right? We don't see heat. Infrared, you need infrared glasses. And again, this is what we see, the rainbow colors, right? The seven main colors or seven main spectrums, right? Seven main chakra colors. The ultraviolet, which we're going into the crown, right? We know that there's a sunscreen for UV rays, right? Um, this is what they're talking about, the ultraviolet rays, which are basically crown chakra rays. Again, you don't see them. X-rays, X flares, okay? As you see, they're in a higher upper ultraviolet, super ultraviolet, and then cosmic and gamma rays, all right? So if these X flares are hitting and smacking you today, and every time these solar flares hit, they're talking about X rays or X flares. This means if we go all the way to the bottom, the energy is increasing, the frequency is increasing, right? And the wavelength, meaning the time that it takes for your intention, for your thoughts, for your ideas, for your visions, the things that you want to manifest, the magic that you want to create in the universe, it is going to take you now a shorter time for those things to come into effect. All right. It's going to take a shorter time for those things to come into effect because there is more energy here on the planet in order to make your dreams a reality and in order to change behaviors that are quote unquote weaknesses. And we're going to get into some of the techniques. And as you can see on the right of this, there is the chakra system, okay, that matches the electromagnetic spectrum, okay? And we're going to talk about the electromagnetism a little bit and radiation and the power or radiation, okay? Alkaline water, a little bit of chlorophyll, lemon, key lime. You don't need to buy essential water. All you need is lemons and key limes, and you can make your own alkaline water. All right, and of course, the chlorophyll is just to boost it. All right, give it a little more oomph. All right, and you see the cosmic energy, this purple or these X-rays, is blocked by ego attachment. Okay, and if you look in the third eye chakra, right, it deals with insight and is blocked by illusion. So you're going to see a lot of these illusions being broken down, and you're already seeing that, which we'll get into with some of these news stories, right? You'll see this ego attachment is breaking down, and we're dealing with more universal collective energy, which you'll see as we move forward in this. All right, everybody, okay? All right, let's go. All right, I see y'all. Shout out to Dr. Bombay in the building. All right, let's keep it going. Um, so the next is we're going to get into the star Sirius. Okay. Now we had 777. Okay, this month, right? The Lions Gate is officially open. I know they say 888 is when the Lions Gate is open, but really, once you're dealing with 777 after July 4th, which is the celebration of Sirius, the red, white, and blue. And as you see through this illustration, let's just read it. It says, "This is the star Sirius early in the morning." Okay, I used a high ISO and 130. Y'all can't see that. Well, take my word for it. I used a high ISO and 320 shutter speed. The color flashes are picked up by the camera as the atmosphere splits the light from the star. No color enhancements were made to this image. This is how the camera picked up the colors, okay? So this is the star Sirius, right? I'm not making this up. This is straight up and down what it is. You can find this on the internet as I did. All right. So when they're talking about the red, white, and blue of the America, please understand that America here is based on ancient Egypt or ancient Kemet, right? Even Washington, D.C., right, is based on, you see the Washington Monument, the big obelisk on the Tekken, and the water right in front of it, right, with Martin Luther King and then marched and things like that, right? That is a direct replica of what they call the Temple of Dendera in Kemet, right? Benjamin Banneker, the Moor, designed Washington, D.C., right? We're going to get into Washington, D.C. later on in this presentation as well, because there's some magic going on in that area, right? And things like that, right? We're going to tap into. But this, so when America uses the red, white, and blue, please know that they're tapping into your ancestral heritage. Okay? They're tapping into that those Lucy bones, those ancient bones, right? They're tapping into that mitochondrial DNA. They're tapping into the red of the root chakra, right? The white of the light, which would be the heart chakra, and the blue, right, of the throat / third eye chakra. Okay, before we get into the ultraviolets of the crown chakra. And it's really a heart, it's really a gut, heart, right? Gut being the red, heart being the white, and the blue being the third eye, right? Or the brain, right? And remember, in the beginning was the word was God, was with God, and the word was God. So it also deals with the Heka, or the power of your speech. Okay. So this is the rainbow imagery, okay, and the lights of Sirius, which match this electromagnetic spectrum, which matches the X flares of the right, that of the sunspot, right? Let's continue going. Okay. Oh, I skipped this. So we have this segment energy as well. All right, that is in the environment. All right, along with Leo, that Leo energy. So the Sekhmet is in the air. Fun facts about Sekhmet: she's the goddess of war, destruction, retribution, plagues, the sun, and healing. Okay, it's hotter than a motherfucker outside. All right, so you know Sekhmet is in the building. All right, you know Sekhmet is here. All right, and she's the goddess not only of war, because a lot of people when they speak of Sekhmet, they only speak of Sekhmet as a war deity or war spirit. She's the goddess of healing. Her parents are Ra, so that's my mama, Ra Blackstone. All right, and in some cases Hathor. All right, Hathor is the holy cow. All right, consort Ptah. Ptah also speaks of the word, right? Ptah in Kemetic cosmology and mythology, Ptah spoke and formed man into existence, right? So that's where they get the Bible even gets First John. The beginning was the word was with God, and the word became a God, because that is the energy of Ptah, right? The divine potter of man, and it was through the utterance of Ptah that all the gods were created. First, it was Nut and Geb. I'm sorry, not Nut and Geb. It was Shu and Tefnut. Shu being wind, and Tefnut being moisture, which gave birth to Geb, which is the earth. Nut being the sky, which Nut and Geb gave birth to Asur and Oset, Set, and Nebhet, right? So this is what they call the Memphite theology of Kemet, all right? So as you see, with that being said, the worship places were Memphis, okay, Leontopolis. Now, you guys saw, you guys saw they cloned Tyrone by now, most of you. And you know her goal was to get to Memphis, right? The sister in there, Yo-Yo, right? Emotions, Yo-Yo, right? She represented the sacral, right? And the sacral, which is the orange chakra, which if you look at this picture, you clearly see there's orange and yellow. So that's the sacral and solar plexus chakra, right? Also, this taps into that woman king energy as well from the movie, right? Which I covered a long time ago, right? And yeah, Lady of Slaughter, right? This sun is right here. This sun is slaughtering people, right? You guys heard about the heat waves and things like that. We're going to get into that, right? But she wanted to go to Memphis, right, to heal. Remember, she was a hoe, she was a hooker, right? And we see that energy, that sexy red energy, right? That Sukiana energy. She want to get her coochie scratch, right? Uh, you know, what Pound Town energy, right? By Booty Hole Pink, by Booty Hole Brown, my Coochie Pink, right? That type of energy, right? And holding the money, Yo-Yo wanted to escape that type of energy, right? And one of the reasons that they even push those type of themes, and you see this heavily, like Sexy Red kind of blew up in Cancer season, right? When that energy of nurturing, right, was in play. And the reason she's always holding money is to show young girls who are impressionable, whose brains aren't fully developed, right? Their prefrontal cortex, that third eye isn't fully developed till you're about 25, right? That's why even with some of the young spiritualists, you listen to them and they'll be talking about some wild shit, good intentions, but they're easily influenced. They're the ones that's easy to believe about the dragons in the sky and the walking rocks and the giants and the three suns and the 12 moons and the aliens and the. Now I'm not saying aliens aren't real. There's no extraterrestrials. There's billions of galaxies in this universe, right? Literally 1.2 billion, I believe, right? And that's a scientific estimate. So there's definitely other life out here in this universe, right? But as far as when an alien hits the projects in New York, then I'll be like, okay, you got me. You know what I'm saying? Until then, the rent is doing it first, all right? But we'll get into the aliens a little later. But she wanted to go to Memphis. So this is also another confirmation, aka coincidence or synchronicity, that's showing that this segment energy is in the air. So what are you going to war with? Are you going to war with the government? Are you going to war with the secret societies, right? July 4th also, what else dropped during this season with all these solar flares, with all this intense heat, right? You had that movie, I believe it's called Cry for Freedom or Cry About Freedom, about human trafficking, exposing human trafficking, okay? This goes back to the justice aspect, all right? Vanquish and justice aspect of Leo, ready to blaze a trail, all right? So that Sound of Freedom is the name of the movie, my bad, about the human trafficking and things like that, okay? So this is the segment energy in full effect, all right? Protector of Pharaoh, daughter of Ra, the one who is powerful, the one before whom evil trembles, lady of slaughter, mistress of dread, she who mauls, the bringer of plagues, okay? The manifestation of Ra. And we're going to see some of those plagues that have happened as we go down the rabbit hole in this particular presentation, all right? Y'all all right? Shout out to Bobby Hibbett, the ancestor. All right, so let's keep going. So we know what time it is. We know there's a high electromagnetic frequency. We know we are in a serious window, right? Actually, the Kemetic New Year is on September 11th. Ironically, the same day that the Twin Towers fell. All right, back in the day. But it's on, so you understand the science of the towers and them falling and things like that. We don't need to go into the conspiracy. Everybody by now should know that the Twin Towers was an orchestrated event, right? There's too much information and too much proof out there to you to still believe that that's just a terrorist act. Okay. So, but if you notice before that event happened, right, these are the events that are happening, all right, on the planet itself. And this is the energy that is hitting the planet. This is nature, the natural or the Netzeru. The Netzeru meaning the gods, right? Or the God energy or the divine energy, right? So let's continue going. So Sirius is part of the constellation Canis Major, okay? The greater dog. You have dog days of summer, okay? We're in dog days of summer right now, right? And this is the time that stimulates, and this is, you notice it looks like a dog right here on the left, all right? I don't know if you guys can see my mouse. And this is the time of chi. Oh, let me fix this. Sorry, y'all. And this is the time of chi, kundalini, all right, and Ra. All right, let me just fix this one moment, please. Because I want y'all to see the whole thing, not the half. All right, boom. So it's the time of Chi, Kundalini, and Ra. All right. And Drake did this on 720. All right. And I thought the significance of the number 720 is you have 720 is 360 twice, right? So 720 is two circles. All right. And if you look at let's look at this. I don't have this on the slide, but let me show you this. And you're going to see another correspondence to this 420. Um, you're going to see another symbolism to these two circles right here. It pulls up correctly. Leo rules the sun, right? And this is the astrological symbol for the sun, okay? Make sure you guys see that, okay? So if you notice, you see the two circles, all right? So this goes back to that 720, all right, when Drake dropped this, announcing the dog days of the sun. So do I know he knows what he's doing? Maybe, maybe not. All right. But this is the energy at play, just so you could see the as above, so below. All right. You can see the as above, so below in that. Make sure I'm back. Okay. So, yeah. So it's clear. We're in the dog days of summer. We see the heat, right? The dog star energy. All right. And this is the time when we could tap into that, as they say in sports, right? The dog in us, right? Do you got that dog in you? Are you brave enough to break certain habits? Are you brave enough to discipline yourself? I talked about the last video, it didn't get a lot of views, but where, this week I was battling eating hot wings, right? Now, yesterday I went and got my hot wings. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to me. Yesterday I went and got my hot wings because it was Friday and I was rewarding myself for disciplining myself. So I went crazy. I went to where I go to, what's the name of that shit? Wingstop. And I went crazy with the hot wings. Rewarding myself for my discipline, right? And Friday is the type of day that you do that, right? You don't want to be so stuck in spirituality that you're not flexible, right? It's better to be a good person and a high vibrational person, right? And eat things in a good spirit than to be like a stiff ass vegan, right? That you're not flexible and that you're judgmental of people and you think you're better than people because you're vegan, right? It's more so the energy behind what you're doing. Now, obviously, this is a vehicle, right? This physical body is a vehicle. So, just like your car, you can't put like bullshit. If you got a fucking Ferrari, you ain't putting regular gas in there. You know what I'm saying? You got to put the high performance gas, right? You're not putting the regular gas in there. If you got a diesel truck, you're not putting regular gas in there. You got to put diesel fuel in your diesel truck, right? So it's the same thing with the body. So those things you could eat in moderation at certain times, but now is really a time you want to stay away from heavy meats and things like that. We'll get into that, all right? But as you see, Sirius is in the air, all right? We're in the Lion's Gate right now, really all the way into the end of August, all right? And it's August is going to get hotter and hotter, all right? And if you know your history, okay? If you know your history in August, another powerful point in August is what happens in August. Is the Black August, right? There's a lot of history with what's my man's name? The freedom fighters, Nat Turners, the Denmark Vessies, right? People who rebelled against slavery and fought against slavery. A lot of those things happened in August. Okay. So this is the energy that we are in. This is the window of time. So now is really the time that you make physical moves. Okay. Not just internal, but physical, actionable items, as Jay-Z would say. All right. Let's continue going to the next slide. So Leo season. All right. We're going to watch a video from Symbolic Studies. about the lion, the serpent, and the dragon. All right. And this is all dealing with Chi, Ra, Kundalini, and electromagnetic ray. You see, I put ray instead of the word radiation. I separate it because these are rays that are coming from the sun that are raising your energy, raising your Kundalini, and raising your vibration. All right. Now, what people do if they're still stuck in their animal nature, they're out here killing, they're out here arguing, they're out here beefing with their spouse, right? They're out here screaming at their children, right? They're staying out the sun as much as possible, right? They don't want any of that light because the news have told them it's hot, it's hot, it's hot, it's hot, it's hot. So they don't go out there and let that, even melanated beings especially, let that sun hit that melanin so that you can convert that energy into light codes and get your downloads and get the information that is meant for you to take you to the next level, right? And to enhance your spiritual power and to enhance your spiritual being and to enhance your magical ability to make manifest what you want, including internal changes and external changes in your life. Okay. Even when it comes to money, this is the time where you want to start looking at what direction you need to do and what is your purpose and how this purpose is going to help you make money and how you can monetize your purpose and your skills and your natural gifts. How do you find your natural gifts? What do you love to do? It's that simple. What would you do without money? What do you do during the day when there's nothing else to do, when you're not watching Netflix and TV and Rob Blackstorm on YouTube or other people, right? What do you do? What do you love to do? That's where your purpose lies. All right. And everybody's purpose is different. Some people's purpose are to heal the earth. Some people's purpose is to harm the earth. If you're watching me, most likely your purpose is to help heal the earth in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So let's go into symbolic studies real quick. I want you to watch this video. You might have to turn this up a little bit. Let me make sure y'all can see this. All right, let me do this. All right, let me turn this.
There's a system of tarot that corresponds to the 22 major arcana cards with the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. The Hebrew letter matched with strength, which is associated with Leo, is Teth, or Tet, which is said to represent a vessel and also means serpent. The more I've studied this serpentine connection, the more I'm fascinated by it. It turns out the lion has been symbolically linked with serpents and dragons for ages. Although lions of the Far East are merely emblematic animals, they have affinities with the dragon and come to be identified with it. In China and Japan, the lion, like the dragon, was thought to ward off demons, which is why it was frequently depicted as a temple guardian. Regarding his version of the strength card, Aleister Crowley writes, "In this card, therefore, appears the legend of the woman and the lion, or rather, lion serpent. According to tarot correspondences, the only animals associated with strength are the lion and the serpent." Snake symbology is endlessly deep. They're perhaps the most feared and venerated creature in the animal kingdom and are believed to be the original king of beasts. The snake has been associated with countless concepts and ideas over the ages. Among its various meanings, it has a history of being associated with several constellations and planets, including the sun, which rules Leo. J.C. Cooper writes, "The serpent and dragon are often interchangeable, and in the Far East, no distinction is made between them. The serpent can depict solar rays and the course of the sun. From the movement of time to the movement of luminaries, the serpent has been a symbolic partner of humanity and plays an important role in countless myths from around the world. The snake's movement reminds me of frequency, vibration, and rhythm, which are interlocked with the cyclical patterns of the cosmos and creation. In fact, I would go as far as to say that the movement of the serpent is a visual metaphor for life itself. Its iconic behavior is mirrored in the tail of a cat, where some suggest is the true source of feline power. The letter S even looks like a snake and is phonetically linked with it as well. Drawing out an S makes a hissing sound, which serpents and felines are well known for making. Furthermore, the Leo symbol reminds me a lot of the North and South Node glyphs of astrology. In the Vedic system, the nodes are referred to as Rahu and Ketu. Rahu is the symbolic head of the dragon, or snake, and Ketu is the tail. In many depictions, they're combined with serpents. Some varieties of cobra have patterns on the back of their hoods that look very similar to the North Node symbol as well. Other patterns look similar to the glyph for the sun. The dragon connection with the nodes is on full display in this antique astronomical instrument. A dragon is stretched out between the nodal points, and its head and tail act as pointers. In Gnostic scriptures, it's written that the god of this domain takes the form of a lion-headed serpent. He's tyrannical and blinded by his own radiance. He's often referred to as the demiurge and is extremely significant in Gnosticism. I find it a little mind-blowing that, of all animals, the lion and serpent combined depicts his likeness. Biologically, I'm intrigued with the idea that serpents and felines have fangs in common as well, and in the case of each creature, there's a variety with slit pupils. The more I study the symbolism of the lion, serpent, and dragon, the closer their connection becomes. And as a cat guy, I think it's fitting. As always, I'd love to know what you think.
So you guys see how the lion and the snake, right, are basically the same thing. And when we're dealing with Leo season, right, and that cat energy, that Sekhmetian energy, right, and that Kundalini energy rising. Let me pull this back up. Bear with me. So I'm gonna show y'all can see this. Okay. So this is what they were talking about, right? The lion, the serpent, and the dragon. So when we're talking about dragons, right, they're talking about something within you, the tail of the dragon, right? Being the south node, the head of the dragon being a north node, which we're going to get into soon, right? The serpent, which is that spinal arc complex that's attached to the cerebellum that controls the movement, right? The energy. And how that is that demiurge energy, right? So now we could take the demiurge out of the mystic woo. This is something outside that rules the earth, and which that grounded as above, so below, to show that that is really us when we are excited or we are angry, right? There's a demiurge or a demon urge, which is the demon is really a beast or spirit animal within you, right? Or that animal nature within you rising up. And a beastly or animal nature can be used for good or it can be used for bad. You could be a beast and fight for your life to defend your children, or you could be a beast and, be a terrorist or, be a negative aspect to humanity overall, right? Be just terrible, right? Be somebody that nobody wants to be around because you're always angry, you're always upset, right? So this is this serpentine energy. When they talk about shape-shifting reptiles, you are a shape-shifting reptile yourself. You are a shape-shifting reptilian, all right? And this is the time for you to shapeshift, my nigga. Not shapeshift as far as change yourself like Secret Invasion Scroll, but metaphorically speaking, yes, you could shapeshift yourself, okay, and tap into that energy. All right. And this is the Leo season of that Leo energy for you to tap into this chi, this Kundalini, this electromagnetic radiation, and the peaking of this energy at this time. All right. Let's continue on to the next. So, July 2023, hottest month ever recorded. All right. According to scientific estimates released Thursday. The average worldwide temperature for the first 23 days of July was 16.95 degrees Celsius, the United Nations Weather Agency said. That number is so far ahead, okay, so far ahead of the previous high of 16.63 degrees set in July 2019, that the record is already secure. So they're saying in 2019, right, if we're going from 63, 72, 83, 93, so that's 32 degrees, right, higher than it was. Now, we know also, or we should know that in masonry, right, when you deal with 33 and a third degrees, right, that is just above freezing. 32 degrees and below is freezing, okay? So when I hear this number 32, it just reminds me that we are still ascending in spiritual knowledge and spiritual wisdom and the spiritual powers that we have, powers of telekinesis, telepathy, psychic abilities, the ability to move things, right, with our mind, et cetera, remote viewing, right, astral travel, the things that are practical to your spiritual being and your being here on earth that'll help improve your life, the life of your family, the life of your loved ones, the life of you and your partner, and overall well-being, to put you in peace, power, and prosperity. And you see in this image, this is the snake, which is again tied to the lion, which is tied to the demiurge. We just saw that in the symbolic studies video. The snake that are complex and using the rhythm to make this energy rise. Okay, we're going to get into music and how this plays a part and what type of music we can use to tap in. Let's go. All right. Also, with the heat, we have a balance. Okay, there's flash floods everywhere. All right, dozens swept away in flash floods in Afghanistan. All right, July 23rd. Flood list, floods and flooding from around the world. July 2, 2023. Torrential downpours in South Korea have resulted in devastating flooding and landslides. Okay. Flash floods killed at least 5 people in Pennsylvania, July 16. Okay. Located along the Delaware River, about 30 miles north of Philadelphia, 3 people died after being swept away. Summer of historic flash flooding on July 19, 2023. All right. I'm just showing you what it is, right? I'm just showing you what it is. Flash flooding unfold during the overnight into the morning hours across far western Kentucky into portions of southern Illinois. So while we're having a heat wave, right, in the west, right, it looks like to the east, right, besides Kentucky and things like that, but it looks like there's parts also that are experiencing these floods or these flash floods that are coming out of nowhere. So there's not only extreme heat, but there's extreme water, all right? There's extreme heat and extreme water. So it's yin yang, all right? Fire water, okay? Fire has water vapor in it. So whenever you see fire or flame, this is science, not just me talking, all right? There is water vapor in that. There is water vapor in that fire. Hydrogen is the most dominant element in the universe. So when we're talking about fire water, we're talking about yin and yang. Again, this is the time or the sign that nature, the Netzeru, the natural world, the divine is giving us to show us that we can make physical changes and the ease of these physical changes. And also that the earth, not only the physical body is changing, but the earth itself is changing or terraforming according to the changes that are happening. As above, so below. Okay. And there's more changes. We'll keep going. All right. So what happened, right? There's a node shift. This happened, I believe, last Monday with the node shift in astrology. Okay. The node shift from Taurus and Scorpio, which are astrological signs that are directly across from each other, Taurus and Scorpio, okay, which are complementary, right? Even though they are different in ways, but they are complementary signs, right? Into Aries and Libra, which are also complementary. So if you look at, let me show y'all this, you're gonna see, let me show you this. So you'll see, just to give you a visual, right? Can y'all see this? Yeah. So now we're at Leo. And if you look, Leo is across from, I don't know if you can see that. Leo is across from, hold on, not Leo, sorry. Aries is across from Libra. Oh, sorry, hold on. Aries is across from Libra, right? Well, you can't really see it. But Aries is across from Libra, all right? And it's the same thing with Scorpio and Taurus. So they're right across from each other. So the nodes are shifting. So everything is shifting because of this, all right? Now, as we go further, so the node shift. So let's break this down. So we're in Aries North Node. So the North Node is, let's just read it. Aries North Node. In past lives, you were very dependent on your marriage partner and expected that person to run your life, okay? And make decisions for you. In this life, you are encouraged to stand on your own 2 feet. and to make decisions for yourself. Okay, there are periods of time in your life where you need to go into isolation to regain yourself. Reading books is therapeutic for you. Okay, so this is the energy that we are on. You standing on your own 2 feet and making your own decisions, not being ran by leaders, not being ran by influences, not doing or living the life that your mama would be proud of or your daddy would be proud of. What are you here to do? What are you passionate about? What makes you tick? What makes you feel alive every morning? Right? The job that you have, right? Or you just working your job, or do you have something on the side that you're passionate about? Right? That also can make you a coiner too, right? You have something on the side that you just do just for fun, right? That puts you in a happy mode or taps into your passion, right? So this is the Aries North Node. This is the energy that we're in. Aries is I am, all right? South Node, all right? South Node is the sign where the South Node is placed natally, always the polar opposite of North Node, which I explained earlier, shows the accomplishments and or misgivings of past incarnations, okay? So the North Node is always what you should be doing now. The South Node is the past or where you were, right? And as astrology moves on the wheel and shifts, right, it's always going to be a new South Node and a new North Node, right? This is till January 2024, the energy that we'll be in. So it says the house placement indicates that the area of life where these child trials took place. The aspects in transit to the South Node help the individual to revisit, recognize, and rework modes of action to ensure success in the direction of rightness and balance. This can only be achieved if the native is able to go beyond what has already been attained. So this is the comfort zone, okay? Libra is we unite, or I unite with others. That's the mantra of Libra. And this is you stepping out and away from the crowd. All right. This is you. Libra is people, right? Working with people, being around people. And this is, as I always say, you being an Avenger. Okay. Are you the Hulk of the crowd? Are you the Scarlet Witch of the crowd? Are you the Captain America of the crowd? Are you the X-Men of the crowd? The Spider-Man of the crowd, et cetera, et cetera. Who are you, right? All the X-Men can't have the same powers, right? What are you? What role do you play in this world? What role do you play in this life? All right. So this is where we're learning how to fit in amongst others, sharing our talents and gifts, which also ties in to this full moon, super moon that we're having in Aquarius, which I'm going to discuss tomorrow with the Zodiac Queens. All right. Let's continue going. So as I said, Aries is I am. Libra is we unite. Okay, so this is you uniting with yourself, with your consciousness, right? With your subconsciousness and making your subconscious conscious. No longer hiding your lamp under a lampstand, but putting your lamp on a hill, as the scripture says. Aries North Node, Libra South Node. This is a lifetime of bending the rules and taking the path less traveled. You will need to learn to rely on yourself. All right. So if you think you getting a man with a lot of money is going to save you, you're going against the energy. Most likely it's not going to work, even if you find that type of man. Or if you think, oh, if I get the right girl and she submits, I'm going to have everything, right? Most likely you're going to find that girl and it's not going to work because this ain't the energy of that. Even though that is what society is pumping heavy through the gender wars, right? You know, woman that submits and listens to every single thing you say, right? While submission is good, I think, and I know that it's wise to have a woman that can think for herself and that can express ideas, because how is she going to give you wisdom if she's always submitting? You know, she might want to give you some wisdom and want to give you some game, because wisdom can see things because they're more detail oriented than men, because they come from the womb space, right? The feminine is the internal. They're able to see things that you can't see as a man. Likewise, as for a woman, right? You trying to be sexy red and Sukiana, and you want this baller that's going to take care of everything while you sit down and eat bonbons and watch reality shows all day and gossip about reality shows and celebrities. This not going to work, okay? Because he's going to be able to see through you, all right? This is the type of energy we're going to be in up until January 2024. And you're going to be forced into uncomfortable situations that are going to be pushing you out of your comfort zone. You will undoubtedly pave the way in your lifetime, becoming a strong person, a leader. You will need to let go of codependent relationships and the notion go along to get along. All right. Shout out to Kwame Brown. Go along, get along, gang. Right. As it will only cause you more problems. Learn to stand on your feet and speak your mind. Let go of old ways of thinking. All right. You got to take a risk to do this. You got to step out of your comfort zone. You will find your passion and thrive in relationships when you could do everything you need to do on your own. Success is waiting. All right. All self-explanatory. Screenshot that if you need to. Read it multiple times if you're one of these people that are hiding who you truly are. All right. Shit, make it a mantra in the morning, right? Read the shit over and over. Read it before you go to bed, all right? Eventually it'll stick into your, it'll plant that seed in your subconscious, and then it will become part of yourselves or yourself and your conscious mind. So Leo mantras, I am courage, boldness, and willpower, all right? So this is what's happening in pop culture, as above, so below. So as the planets are shifting and everything's shifting, right? People are shifting. Right? There was a time a couple of years ago, right, where there was everybody was accepting, okay, when the transsexuals and the LGBTQ Disney Plus first came out, they was like, oh, women were like, oh yeah, no, let them in, oh yeah, they're women too, yeah, they're women too. Why are you just they're women just like us. Yeah, trans women are women. Well, I stand on that, right? But Jess Hilarious came out, right, during this Leo season and said no, right? Right? No. She's saying that they're delirious. I didn't say that. This is what she said, right? And it says, I stand with Jess Hilarious. Trans women, men in wigs are literally the definition of misogyny and patriarchy. It's a bunch of men, remember, right? It's a bunch of men dictating what a woman is while never having experienced anything associated to womanhood. All right? I'm not saying, look, do what you want to do, right? I'm not a hater, right? Do what you want to do. You're an adult. You want to be an adult. You want to be a trans this, a trans that. Have at it, right? Cross dress as much as you want. That's what we called them when I was younger. We called them cross dressers, right? I ain't hating no. Cross dress all you want. Who cares, right? It's not my body, it's not my life, right? I got to focus on being the best version of me and myself, right? Not you or yourself, right? But at the same time, you can't expect me to call a woman a man or a man a woman just because you're wearing different clothes. And a lot of time, the dudes that are supposedly trans, they still got the sausage, right? They still got the phallus. But they're claiming to be women just because they dress and feel a certain way, right? Remember, Kundalini is dealing with feelings. It's dealing with emotions, right? It's dealing with the rise of emotions. So that's why this is taking place now, right? And you see she's beefing with all these popular trans influencers. I think her name is T.S. Madison, right? And she's, they going at it, right? Keep that phony shit over there. You don't need to be playing with me. But it's just hilarious, from my opinion, right? And me standing on righteousness, she's telling the truth. Again, you could be who you want to be, live how you want to live. But when you get into delirium and you start really thinking because you're dressing a certain way and wearing makeup and got some titties, you know what I'm saying, or did some surgery, that you're actually a woman when you're a man that transitioned into looking illusions, looking physically like a woman. It's not about how you feel inside. If you want to be gay and have gay sex, that is in some people's DNA. Okay, there was the islands of Lesbos, right? In Greece, you see all those statues in Rome with little boys with the priest and all that. Some people's DNA, they come here, that's what they come here to be. They come here to be gay, right? Maladomo Somé calls them gatekeepers, right, of spirituality, because they're in one body but feel a different way. My boy Adika Butler, he has his book, The Homie and My The Homie, where they talk about these men that are moving around in ritual And the way they're dancing is feminine, like it almost looks like they're gay, right? There's spirituality in that, but there's confusion here in America with the way they are choosing to utilize that particular energy and how they're pushing these things on children, right? Children don't need to know anything about sex or sexuality in kindergarten, elementary school. People, transsexual men going into these schools and doing. So Jessica is standing up. She's in her Leo energy. She's in her I am. This takes courage. Okay. She worked. I don't know if she's working for a long time. It was a temporary stint, but she worked at working at the Breakfast Club. All right. If you guys know the Breakfast Club, you guys have seen Charlemagne with these these toys in the past before they changed, because they recently changed. I don't watch it all the time, but they recently changed the background. But he used to have like these Barbie or these Ken dolls, these dolls, male dolls, in all type of homosexual positions, right? While the guests are speaking, they don't know, but they in different positions, not just one, different homosexual positions, right? So she's working at that station. So is she going to keep the job? Is she going to be back on the Breakfast Club? Who knows, right? But she's standing on her square. It takes courage. It took boldness for her to step out. It took willpower. And willpower really has nothing to do with how you feel, right? I said that in the last video I did, right? About battling within. It has nothing to do with how you feel. It has to do with what's right. It has to do with the crown chakra. The crown chakra has nothing to do with this physical body. A lot of people think when you feel like going to the gym, you go to the gym. When you feel like eating certain things, you eat certain things. When you feel like being in a relationship and being faithful, when you feel like XYZ, it ain't about how you feel. It's about what the truth is. And the truth will engage your willpower against all odds and against all opponents. Fortune favors the bold. So even though Jess Hilarious is going through this and they're probably going to knock her down a couple of pegs, right? She's going to reemerge out of this because she is going according to nature and the energy that is on the planet right now, whether she knows it or not. Because you don't have to read books. The spiritual thing is not necessarily about reading books or watching lectures. It's about being in tune with nature and what's natural. And who is more in tune with nature and what's natural than a woman who pushes out humans, who creates life. All right? So this is a sign of that Leo mantra. I am. Who are you? What are you? What's real? What's truth? And are you going to stand on it against all odds? All right? So even though you might lose $1 here or there, you're going to get way more when the smoke clears. It's just like Dave Chappelle, right? Dave Chappelle turned out, I think it was 20 million or something, or 100 million or some big ass number, right? Went to Africa, came back and tripled that, right? With Netflix. I think he got 500 million or some crazy number, quadrupled or some shit, right? That number. Because he stood on, he didn't want to be played a certain way. He didn't want to be controlled a certain way. So he took an initial hit financially. He took an initial hit of shame, but his courage, his boldness, and his willpower, regardless of how he felt about the money, regardless of taking care of his family and his wife, right, and his children, and how his lifestyle might have had to change, and how he had to maybe, change his living arrangements or whatever, to stand on truth. It's worth the sacrifice. Remember, we talked about the snake, right, shedding his skin when we were talking about the symbolic studies when we watched that video about how the lion and the serpent, and what does a serpent do? A snake sheds its skin all the time. It's constantly regenerating. It's constantly turning into something new, right? So this is what this electromagnetic energy, this chi, this Ra energy, this Kundalini energy is all about, all right? So it's a great sign of what this season is. Let me see what y'all talking about, all right? All right. Yeah, definitely hit that like button. All right. Hit that subscribe button. All right. We got a little more to go. I'm going to try to get out of here in under 2 hours. I'm making good time. Shout out to me, because y'all know I could be long-winded. All right. Shout out to Come to Mama. All right. Let's let's keep going. Let's keep going. All right. So the sun is bringing light to the illusions. Okay. In Leo season. All right. King Von, the serial killer. King Von, the serial killer. Shout out to Trap Lord Ross. If y'all want to see that, it's on YouTube. It's like a 2-hour, 3-hour video or some shit. One night I was up, I watched that shit. I couldn't believe it. I was like, this dude, King Von, was buying everything. Allegedly. Well, he passed away. Rest in peace to him. But he was buying everything. You know what I'm saying? But this guy was telling police he's gay to get moved into protective custody. Now, from someone who had experience with the criminal justice system, I could tell you the way you get moved into. Now, this is what happens, right? Because most people don't know. This is what happens. You're gang affiliated, right? Now, when I was up north, I wasn't gang affiliated, so I didn't really have to worry about none of this. But let's say you're gang affiliated. You're a Blood, you're a Crip, right? Chicago got different gangs. I'm not going to purport to be an expert at the gangs. I know about the folks and some of that, the GDs, the Vice Lords, right? But I don't know all of them. But obviously, King Von's in some type of gang, and when you are in a gang, so in prison, you go to what they call a house or a dorm, or if you're in a max, you go to a tier, right? Or house or dorm or a tier. When you are in these places, right, and let's say you go into a Blood house and you're a Crip, and you go into a Blood house, right? There's two things you could do. You could get there, right? And you could, as soon as you go in, right, get your bed, you look around, you see that their wolves are out, they're ready to kill you. You don't unpack, you go to the door, and you do what King Von did, right? Not most people don't say they're gay, right? They just will say, I need to get out of here, right? I'm feared for my life. I need to get out of there, right? In prison, they look at you like you pussy when you do that, all right? You're looked at as pussy for doing that, right? This is the second way that you get out, right? And this is the gangster way, right, that you get out. You get in that house, right? You see that the ops are there, maybe the wolves are there, they're going to cut you up, tear your ass up, right? Maybe possibly even kill you, cut your face all up. You get in there, right? You still don't unpack your shit, right? Because you're getting there, coming in with bags. And what you do is you see the first, you a Crip, you're in a Blood house, you see the first motherfucking Blood, and you steal on them, all right? Punch him in the face, right? Duff him, as we say in New York, right? And start a fight, and then they'll get you up out of there, right? You might be in a box for a month or so, maybe not. Maybe for a fight, they probably just move you in the house, right? If you're really, really gangster, you might cut the op, you know what I'm saying? But that's the way you get out the house. That's the gangster way that you really get out the house. So the illusion is King Von is the super gangster because he's killing everybody, but yet there's video of him telling police that he's gay to get moved into protective custody. So this is the illusion, right, of what they're selling you in rap music. Also, let's go to G Herbo, right? These are the drillers, right? These are the killers, right? These are the rich gangsters. G Herbo pleads guilty in wire fraud conspiracy, lying to federal agents in court. All right? This is the light. Light is information. Information is truth, okay? So G Herbo's running around, right? This dude was hotel rooms, right? Fake identification, private jets, fake identification, wire fraud, right? Stolen credit card info. He's faking the funk of a lifestyle of a rich rapper when he's not a rich rapper, okay? This is something Method Man was saying in the Math Hoffa interview. He was like, yo, where rappers getting all this money? Like, how are they getting all this money for these private jets? And even a G Herbo got, did some scamming to get like some designer dogs. Like, this is stupid shit. He's already a rapper. But they're selling illusion to the kids that if you're a gangster and you're a thug, right, you could get rich by rapping about your exploits. I'm not saying King Von wasn't a killer, right? I'm not saying G Herbo wasn't down with the gangs and nothing like that. What I am saying is they're putting, as they say in Cali, they put in 1 on 10, right? I might be getting y'all slang wrong, right? But they're put or 10 on the one or something like that, right? Basically, they put an extra sauce on it, as they say in New York, right? They putting extra on it, right? To sell an illusion to you. Okay. So the sun is bringing light to the illusion. The Leo season is bringing light, right? It's that Kundalini snake, right? And that lion head, right? Showing up. It's that dragon energy is burning through the illusions. So this is the time when you got to start keeping it real because your illusions are going to be illustrated too. Those of you who are faking the front, those of you who are thinking that, you're putting things on social media like, this is what it is. But, in real life, you're sad, you're depressed, you're lonely, you hate, you post those relationship pictures, you hate that motherfucker, but you got to keep the illusion, right, that everything's good. Because God forbid somebody talks about you and people know the truth, right? So all these things are going to start becoming exposed more and more and more the hotter and hotter it gets. All right. So look out for these things this month. Let's continue. So good news, right? More illustrations. So Nas drops Magic 2. I ain't put the 2 in there, but Nas drops Magic 2. All right. Last Friday. And last Friday as well, Day of Venus, Magic, right, commands Washington. And I say that because his ownership group, right, bought the Washington Commanders. Now, I know people are going to say, oh, Magic's being used as a pawn, which I believe as well, right? But it's not about what he actually physically did. It's about the representation and the symbolism of Nas dropping Magic and Magic dropping the Magic buying the Washington Commanders or being part of the group that bought the Washington Commander football team. Okay, so I put Magic commands Washington, adding Black Milk, right? He's a rapper, hasn't dropped an album in a while. Some of y'all may know who he is, right? Dropped the album called Everybody Good that same Friday that these things happen. So last week we had the new moon in Cancer. All right. Cancer is about nurturing. It's about emotions, right? Which is a precursor to or part. And that new moon is part of Leo season as well, right? So that crab energy, right? So the black milk to this mix is that sperm, right? Sperm has a head and a tail. Tail being the spinal cord, the rising snake, or the Kundalini energy, right? So this is showing the potency of your magic. Those of you who are working with altars, those of you who are working with deities, those of you who are speaking things into existence, those of you who have morning rituals, those of you who have evening rituals, those of you who are meditating, aka those of you who are doing actual physical fucking work. This is your time. Say it one more time, Gunner. Everything litty. I love when it's hot. Okay. So this is the energy with this pole shift, right? With this node shift. This is what's going on. These are the signs and symbols that this is what you need to be tapping in. There's no such thing as coincidence, only confirmation, right? Synchronization is the truth. Okay. Give me 1 second. Yep, and the Nas album is friggin' awesome. I do agree. Nas is my favorite rapper, so I hold I am not I'm very biased. Nas is my favorite album. All right, favorite rapper. Shout out to Dre Allah in the building. All right, so let's continue. Let's continue. Let me change this real quick. All right, boom. So we have. Make sure y'all smashing that like button for free. It's free. I don't ask for anything. Y'all know. You know what I'm saying? I ain't selling y'all a whole bunch of courses. I ain't selling y'all a whole bunch of items. You know what I'm saying? I really do this because this is what I have to do. All right. This is my spiritual purpose. This is my purpose. I have to teach. If I don't, my life goes awry. You know what I'm saying? My life goes all sorts of ways. So I have to do this. You know what I'm saying? Unapologetically. And there's something you have to do unapologetically too. Okay. So step into who you truly are. So we all know what's happening, all right, with the aliens and everything. In fact, before I even get into this, let me share this. Hold on, y'all. Let me share this real quick. because this, I posted this earlier on my own page, Ra_Blackstorm, which we're going to go to. And let me pull this up. And y'all know this is this is exactly how I feel, real deal Holyfield, about these aliens, okay?
Because what the fuck? Government casually talking about some, oh, by the way, we seen some aliens. Bye? Who give a fuck? Where the money at? That's what we want to know. Where is the fucking money? Do they got some money?
Right.
Are they here to help? Because we're tired. And y'all knew we wasn't gonna give a fuck about this shit because there's so much. Every time I turn around, the world is ending. I'm gonna just stop turning around. Everything do. Rent do. Lights do.
Right.
Bills do. Baby shark do. Talking about some aliens. Like, if you don't get the fuck, and let me run into them. This is exactly how I'm giving it. First of all, okay. All right now. Secondly, this shit nice. This is 2023. I already know. That's what I'm saying. I already know. I get money. Did you bring some? I can't support the community. Please give me some good news because I can't handle it. Oh yeah, just passing through. Oh no, baby, you got to take me with you. You have to. I don't know what the fuck we doing down here, but I already know what y'all lit over there on y'all planet. Take me. Let's go because it's too ghetto down here.
Shout out to New York Nay. Shout out to New York Nay, man. She's funny. Somebody I follow on the gram. But yeah, that's how I feel, yo. This is how I feel about the aliens. I don't give a damn about them aliens for real. Are they bringing some paper? You know what I'm saying? We'll play one more time for y'all in the back, man. Oh, is it frozen? All right, maybe it was just supposed to be played once. But yeah, that's how I feel about them aliens, man. You got some paper, man. You helping me get something. This is exactly how I feel. All right? I don't give a damn about them aliens. If they come, they come. If they don't come, they don't come. At the end of the day, I got real bills. All right? I got real kids. I got real life. You know what I'm saying? Got real love in my heart and love outside of my heart, right? And there's better things to be focused on than if the aliens are coming. And if these aliens are here, right? I'm not denying people who's, unless, let me say this, right? Let me say this real quick. I'm not denying people who say that they see aliens or they've seen aliens in their real life or aliens have been in their backyard and they've seen things in their home and all that. If I've never seen them, you know what I'm saying? I've never seen them, and I've lived multiple states, multiple places, right? Not visited, lived, right? I've never seen an alien in my life. I'm not saying they don't exist. I've explained that earlier. What I am saying, am I going to focus on the aliens coming? Am I going to focus on the aliens being up in the sky? Am I going to believe the government who's been lying to me since I was a child, who told me George Washington never told a lie, who told me Jesus was real, a government who told me they don't modify the weather, a government who faked the moon landing, a government who told me just get the shot, you're going to be okay. I'm going to believe the government now because they say, oh, we've seen aliens and we have a half body of an alien. Why are they disclosing it? Why are they putting that out there for you? What do they have next? Do they know that a lot of you guys are waking up into your spiritual power? They're waking up into spiritual information. You're waking up to the truth. You're waking up to who you really are. And they want to distract you with aliens out the motherfucking sky? Man, fuck them aliens. Fuck them aliens. I swear to God. On God. Fuck them aliens. Tell them again, man. Hold up. Watch this one more time. Because I really need y'all to really think about what's really important. Are the aliens important? And even if the aliens are here, I've said this before, aliens probably could see your vibration. They could see what type of frequency you're resonating with. I showed y'all the electromagnetic spectrum earlier. They could see, are you resonating on a crown chakra frequency? Is your glow ultraviolet? Is your glow infrared? Stuck in the roots, stuck on the earth, stuck in your animals, stuck in being secure, safe, right? Don't want to take risks because you don't want to step out of your comfort zone, right? Or you stuck in your sexuality and your sensuality, right? Your sacral chakra, right? stuck in that, using that as a way to feel and to feel good, right? Right, Yenton, fuck them aliens and them clones. I'm not saying don't be interested. I'm not saying don't let it have, it's good for water cooler talk. But at the end of the day, if they're not coming down and putting you on a ship, if they're not doing anything for you or helping you in any way, then what's the purpose? My rent's due on the 1st. I got insurance I got to pay. People got mortgages, car notes, bills, real life shit, health issues, bad kids, loneliness, depression, anxiety, childhood trauma, anger issues. Fuck them aliens and them clones. That's my opinion. All right. You do what you want to do. But as a teacher, I'm going to tell you, you're wasting your time. All right. And I've been doing this. Look, I was just like y'all back in the 90s. A lot of y'all. You know what I'm saying? Reading Behold the Pale Horse and Mount Weather and the alien ships. And, whoa, this is what's happening. And this is what they're doing. And this is what they're hiding from us. This like who is that? Who is that helping? Who's that helping? What is that doing for you? I just want to know. Tell them again, man.
Oh, by the way, we seen some aliens. Bye. Who give a fuck? Where the money at? That's what we want to know. Where is the fucking money? Do they got some money? Are they here to help? Because we're tired. And y'all knew we wasn't gonna give a fuck about this shit because there's so much. Every time I turn around, the world is ending. I'm gonna stop turning around. Everything do.
Y'all ain't telling me to fight a fight.
Lights do. Bills do. Baby shark do. Talking about some aliens. Like, if you don't get the fuck, and let me run into them. This is exactly how I'm giving it first of all. Okay. All right now. Secondly, this shit nice. This is 2023. I already know. That's what I'm saying. I already know. Y'all getting money. Did you bring some? I can't support the community. Please give me some good news because I can't handle it. Oh yeah, just passing through. Oh no, baby, you got to take me with you. You have to. I don't know what the fuck we doing down here, but I already know what y'all lit over there on y'all planet. Take me. Let's go because it's too ghetto down here. I can't take it. I don't know what. Because what the fuck?
Because what the fuck? Exactly. Couldn't say it any better myself. All right. Now that we've covered that, let's go back to these slides. All right. Let's go back to these slides. And I just want you guys to be practical, okay? I don't want to kill any of your guys' dreams or inquisitiveness or curiosity because I'm curious. I'm inquisitive, right? If I see a ship over New York, I'm going to look and be like, oh, shit. But I know them bills, the aliens ain't going to pay my bills. You know what I'm saying? And I know the aliens is not going to take care of my health. I know the aliens are not going to kill any depression or anxiety or stress. I know the aliens don't care about my future, right? And if they do come, again, I want to be in a high vibrational frequency, so I'm going to be doing the work so preparation can meet opportunity if there is a ship to take my ass someplace. But until I see it, we doing me, all right? And you should be doing you. Let's go back to the slides. So, ironically, right, they brought this alien talk on Thursday. Guess what happened on Thursday? The season finale of the wackest, worst Marvel series ever. I stand on that. The worst Marvel series ever. Secret Invasion. Okay? In Secret Invasion, the main aliens are melanated Skrulls. Okay? They're called Skrulls or Skulls. Okay? Skulls who live in highly radiated areas. Okay? So they were in Russia, where Chernobyl, the site of Chernobyl was, right? Do you know the power, those of you who are highly melanated, of your melanated body? Do you know that it converts light into energy? Do you know that the melanin that you have could withstand excessive radiation? Now, I know there's some melanated people who can't go in the sun, right? If you can't go in the sun, I understand that. My mom is like that. Even though she's darker skinned, the sun affects her, so she can't be directly under it. But you could stand by the window if you need that energy, right? It's not going to affect you the same way. You could sit in your car and it won't affect you the same way, right? So, but if you're just like, I don't want to be in the sun because I don't want to sweat, you're losing out. You're missing out on one of the greatest transform. It's a 7 years, 2023. It's a 7 year, 777 window. We're still under it. Like, what are you doing with your life? Like, don't you want, again, to be in your truth, to live in your purpose, to overcome these limitations, these human limitations, right? Stress and shit like that. Don't you want to overcome your hardship, poverty, things like that? You are the money, by the way, right? You are the money. So whatever you're doing at work, it's you that's doing it, that's producing the money. Somebody's paying you for something that you're doing, right? So you are the gold, right? You are human gold, literally, all right? So, and gold is also the color of the heart chakra, which well, not the heart chakra, sorry, that's a misnomer. But gold is something that corresponds to the heart as well, right? Because that is your true gold. If your heart stops, it's over. You could be brain dead and still be in a hospital and be revived, right? It's called the coma, right? But if that heart stops ticking, it's over, okay? So that's your true gold. That is your true treasure. The true treasures, there's a scripture that says true treasures, I'm paraphrasing, are stored in the heart. So they have this alien thing on the same day that Secret Invasion ends. But again, this is your melanated skull that is taking in the radiation that is causing you to become a shapeshifter. Could there be physical, tangible shapeshifters here on Earth? Maybe. Who knows? I don't give a fuck. Again, I'm like, Nay, y'all got some money? You know what I'm saying? Y'all got some paper. What are y'all gonna do for me, aliens? Besides me talking to my friends about it, what are y'all gonna do for me? You know what I'm saying? I'd rather use the alien shit that it's my melanated skull, and that I am able to shapeshift and be a snake charmer, meaning that if people are an enemy, right, a hater, people that are opposing me, I'm able to manipulate myself and my energy to manipulate theirs to do my bidding and my wishings, even though they may hate my black ass, even though they might not like me. But something about me in this particular time is going to make them do what I want them to do for me. That's the secret invasion I'm talking about, right? That's me 3 a.m. in the morning meditating, right? And I got to, giving you an idea, right? I got a boss at the job, and this is not something that happened right now, but this is something that happened in the past. I got a boss at my job, right? Or a manager over me as I'm a supervisor fucking with me, right? So at 3 a.m., the witching hours, I go into meditation and visualize him doing what the fuck I want him to do. First, when you go into meditation, you do these visualizations, you do them in the first person, with your radiated, now the sunlight is hitting your radiated skull, your radiated scroll, right? And you tap into your He-Man, I have the power, in Castle Grayskull, okay? And you tap into that energy and you visualize what you want him to do. I did this 2 nights in a row. By the third day, this motherfucker was eating out of the palm of my hand. And I know he didn't like me. I know he didn't like me. He turned me from an assistant supervisor to a supervisor with the best team. And shout out to my man Roger Albert. If he's here, he can vouch for this. He doesn't know I did this because I wasn't talking to him about what I was doing, right? But he made me a supervisor and gave me the best team, the best group of people in the sales floor as my team. These are facts. When I talk to y'all, I always tell you, I'm not telling you some woo-woo super, shit that's out of this world. I'm telling you shit that I've actually done so that I could give it to you, so that because I know through my experience that you could do it too. All right? That's the only alien shit I care about. But I'm going to tell you something else. You are aliens. Motherfuckers. You're the aliens. DNA reveals ancient Africans bred with new unknown races of humans. All right? Ghost DNA hits at Africa's missing ancient humans. Genes in some living West Africans shed light on human genetic diversity, which has been difficult to find in the continent fossil record. Okay? So, for lack of a better word, what they're saying by calling it ghost DNA and an unknown race of humans is they don't know. They don't know where these West Africans, which is where most of your black ass ancestors come from. West Africa. Even if you track the language, right? Shout out to Clyde Winters. This is a good book. Let me make sure y'all can see this. All right. It's a good book about language. Y'all can see, hold up. Let me make sure y'all can see this. Egyptian language, Clyde Winters, where he talks about, and I was reading this. I just got this yesterday, but I was reading it, and it's very, very interesting stuff about words and where they come from and how they're connected. Even like the word honky, is basically the word honky, where you think it's slang. It actually comes from the Wolof tribe in Africa, and it means white man on a horse. All right. So a lot of this ghost DNA is those HeLa cells, right? Henrietta Lacks cells that they are talking about. So we got to get to the point to where we are much better at identifying. Why is it doing this? Hold on, give me 1 second. Identifying who is the real alien. They told y'all the aliens was up there, but as above, so below, my nigga. As above, so below. They already told you who the aliens are with the Space Force. Look at the bottom. Space Delta 18, National Space Intelligence Center. I'm not talking, this is not coming out my ass. You see the commission right there? You know these are your ancestors. Y'all seen Black Panther? Y'all went dressed up, some of y'all the Black Panther. Y'all know y'all dealt with technology, spiritual technology, and physical technology with them pyramids and with them Tekkens. And with those ritual spaces. And the reference that you had with ancestral communication, which the white boy calls necromancy, communicating with the dead, working with the dead, seeing the dead. Right? You see in this NASA Space Force, National Space Intelligence Center, matter of fact, so many people were decoding this that they've changed it. This was hard for me to even find. They've actually changed the logo. Because so many people were figuring this shit out. It was like, oh no, these niggas is waking up. Let's change this, right? You're the alien. You're the alien. You have alien DNA. They're HeLa cells, the Henrietta Lacks cells. There's some of you with those cells in you now. Why you think they take your organs? They steal your organs. You think it's just to give them to people and to make other European or Caucasian people healthy? No. There's HeLa cells in some of them. They're not going to tell you that. They're not going to tell you those immortal HeLa cells are in you. They're not going to tell you that you're an alien. They'd rather have you look up and think it's coming. Remember, they had the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio on Netflix, came out last year, called Don't Look Up. So they dropped that with all these stars. Remember, the last star-studded movie they dropped like that was called Contagion. That was a year before the Rona hit. So a year before this alien disclosure, which was last year, they dropped Don't Look Up. What do they call that? They call that what do they call it? Maybe one of y'all say it in the chat. Preconditioning. There's a word for it where they basically do movies, prepare you for what they're going to do next. Something like preconditioning or something like that. Y'all let me know in the chat. But basically, they are training your mind, conditioning your mind for what they call Project Bluebeam, right? Introducing you to an alien race. And again, I'm not saying that they don't exist. Maybe they do, right? Maybe they do. But predictive programming, I knew my man Hollow. That's a Scorpio shit, right? Predictive programming. That's what they're doing, all right? Yep. Shout out to Ren, shout out to Kenton. Yep. Predictive programming. Yep. That's what they're doing. I love y'all. Thank you. All right. So be careful what you're buying into and what you're distracted with and what you're talking about, man. Does it really make sense? I'm just saying, because you already got that shit in you. You already got that shit in you. You already got that shit the fuck in you. You're already an alien, my nigga. You're not from here. You know you're not from here. You can feel it in your bones that you're not from here. It's not just me saying this. You know it. You know it. So you are the ancient alien, and NASA knows you don't know. All right. So they could sell you this shit. All right. Did you know NASA started out with underwater exploration, not going into space? Underwater exploration. In fact, when they train from space for space flight, they go and they train in the water, right? They train in the waters because the buoyancy of water matches space if they're really going to space at all. If that's not a hoax, right? Now, there's people who live stream from the space stations and things like that. So I kind of think that they may have been, they may be, and there's rockets, Elon Musk doing his, I'm saying Neuralink, his space link thing, forget the name of it, but where he's sending these satellites out in space, all these satellites and shit for his internet system, which is actually what the people in Ukraine are using to get Wi-Fi, being that they're under war right now. So they're using his internet system from the sky, right? But you're the ancient alien, okay? And NASA knows you don't know. So they could keep feeding you this bullshit, right? And distracting you with this bullshit as long as they want. Because they know you don't have knowledge yourself. Most people don't have knowledge yourself. Most people don't know who they truly are. Most people don't know that they're gods. Most people don't know that they're divine beings. Most people don't know their history and their heritage, right? And this is all races, quote unquote, classes and creeds. Race is a made up construct in the first place, right? It was always about nationality first, where you're from, what your culture is. All black people all over the world aren't the same. A person from Jamaica is different than a person from Antigua. A person from Antigua and Jamaica is different from an American. An American is different from an African. An African is different from a Aboriginal in Australia. An Australian is different than a motherfucker from British, a bruv from Britain in it. A bruv from Britain in it, right? We all different. You know what I'm saying? We all have different nationalities, but at the end of the day, the DNA is the DNA. You know what I'm saying? The DNA is the DNA. Ain't no doubt in that. So it's in you, not on you. All right? You don't need to worry about the aliens out there. You need to worry about to tap into the space alien in here and the space alien in thy heart. Let's continue. So one of the frequencies you want to tap into is the God Sun Ra, okay? You are a living myth in a heliocentric world, okay? What is your sun sign? I'm a Scorpio. I'm supposed to be communicating with ancestors. I'm supposed to be a medium. I'm supposed to have psychic visions. I'm supposed to be interested in death, right? And the workings of death and the workings and the mysteries of the world. This is what a Scorpio is about. And its higher self, right? There's 3 dimensions of a Scorpio. The Scorpion, which is the lower level, right? Which I once was, right? A stinging motherfucker. Right? Back, stinging from the back. You ain't gonna see it coming, right? And then there's the eagle, where you start to rise and learn about yourself, right? And then there's the phoenix, right? Which is where I believe I am at this point in my spiritual journey, right? And I'm still growing, right? I'm still growing into that phoenix, right? And every day I got a goal, which is the myth of going to the Ben stone, right? Which is the top of the obelisk or the top of the Tekken, right? And turn into ash every night, which is basically me going in to myself when my energy is low and regenerating. And then in the morning, the phoenix rises again, which is the mythology of the Ben stone, right? On top of the obelisk, or even on top of the pyramid, on top of the pyramid, right? So what is your sun sign? Are you maximizing the highest points of your sun sign? Are you tapped in? Do you know what that is, right? Do you know what's the best parts of your sun sign? Do you know if you're exhibiting the best parts of your sun sign? Have you thoroughly studied your sun sign with your Scorpio, Virgo, Gemini, Leo, Virgo, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aries, Taurus, Cancer, right? And so forth and so on. Pisces, right? Gemini, and so forth and so on. Sagittarius, right? Aquarius, have you tapped into the highest version of this sign and know what those are and are trying to exhibit that? Okay. So Sunrise music, right? Space is a place. He's going to take you into some of that. It's going to take you into some of that vibration. And I want to share a Sun Ra interview if you're not familiar with the god, because Sun Ra influenced Parliament Funkadelic, Bootsy Collins, and a very influential also, even though African Bambaataa has some, allegations against him, let's just say that. He influenced his style of dress and his way of being, right? The soul African Bambaataa and the soul sonic force, right? If you look at African Bambaataa, you can see a lot of Sun Ra. If you look at Parliament Funkadelic, you'll see a lot of Sun Ra as well. Sun Ra is a pioneer of the Egyptian myth, or calling himself a myth, right? And his living as a myth. Your life is a story. A story is a myth. When we're watching movies, we're watching mythologies at play, right? These are myths, okay? So you could create your own mythology of yourself. This is why you have an altar, ALTAR, ego, right? So one of the first things they did to the neophyte when he came into Kemet is they gave him a different name, right? So this way you could tap in who you truly are by creating this mythology about yourself. So Rob Blackstorm is a mythology. He's different than Rob Watson, all right? This mythology of Rob Blackstorm allows me to come here and deliver this energy and deliver these messages, right? It allows me to step out of the comfort zone. It's like Beyonce turning into Sasha Fierce, right? Everybody knows Beyonce, Sasha Fierce, right? Sasha Fierce is when she's going out there to perform. That's her alter ego, right? That's when she develops, right? There's Pharrell Williams, and then there's Pharrell, the musician, right? There's Sean Carter, right? And then there's Jay-Z, the performer, right? There's, and so forth and so on. There's Christopher Wallace, and there's Biggie Smalls, right? So if artists and musician art is an expression of the heart, if they're doing it, why don't you have an alter ego for yourself that you're tapping into? So Sun Ra was always saying that you're a living myth. And let me tap into this interview real quick. I'll pull this up. Give me 1 second. Fair use, YouTube. Fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use. Let me speed this up a little bit because some of this you can't really hear.
But your music, it's interesting. I mean, it seems to be of its own tradition. You started in the 50s, your own tradition, the heliocentric world. You were from outer space.
That's right. I was talking about outer space. A lot of musicians felt it was too far for people, but it's not really. They had the wrong impression about people. They underestimated their intelligence. I realized that people got feelings, and I reached towards their feelings and not their minds, because they've been brainwashed. So why should I try to reach someone who's brainwashed? But their spirit hasn't been brainwashed, and it's pure. Everyone I meet, I know that. I know what they're supposed to be. And I reach what they're supposed to be and what they potentially will be. I'm not worried about what they are. I'm not trying to reach that part of people. But then I've been playing my low profile because I never wanted to be a leader, you see. But I'm getting so much publicity until it's messed up my profile so badly.
You got to come up.
I just have to come out and present what I have to offer to the world.
Now you seem to me to be a man with a mission. What's your mission today?
Well, well, I'm really not a man, you see. I'm an angel. And if I was a man, I couldn't do anything because...
Now, you heard him say, you may not turn this up. This is a little low. Can't do anything about it. But he said he's not a man, right? He's not an angel, right? And he said he's not worried about the mind, right? That's one of the first things he said when he's doing his music. He said he's not worried about the mind because people are brainwashed, right? He's worried about the feeling, the emotion, because as Neville Goddard said, feeling is the secret, right? But it's how you use the feeling, right? If you're just a slave to your emotions, if you're a slave to your animal nature, if you're a slave, every time you feel an urge, you got to do it. Every time you feel an urge to do something, you got no self-discipline. You cannot manage and regulate yourself, right? Then you're out of control, all right? But if you are conjuring, right, through what you take in, through what you watch, what you read, the people you're around, the environments you put yourself around, the things that you watch, the things you listen to, et cetera, the food for thought, and also the food in your belly, right? Then you're able to conjure a certain feeling, right? Which will download information to you without lectures, books, teachers, priests, prophets, Bibles, Qurans, etc. That'll help you become the best version of yourself. Not only that, but give you insight into other people's intentions. All right. Which is opening up the third eye to higher perception, right? The Heru aspect of yourself, seeing things from a bird eye view through the power of the will. And as you engage your will more and more spiritual power you will develop. So he asked him, well, who are you? He says, as a man. He said, I'm not a man. I'm an angel, right? That's the same thing as you saying you're a god, right? He's creating his own mythology of who he is. He doesn't want to be associated with humanity, right? Because that's limited to this animalistic world. That's limited to this, you're earthbound. If you deep into your humanity, but if you're into your godhood and your God power, now you're something divine. Now you're something powerful. Now you're something they better look out for.
Man always fails, you know. He's so limited. He doesn't have the right to do things to make a better world. But angels are not up under the same code as a man. As an angel, I can do a lot of things because I think I'm a bad one. But it doesn't make no difference if you're an angel. You're a little bit a step above man.
Now, one thing, if you listen to Sunrise more and more, and I do hope you do, because he's very insightful and he speaks in a very poetic way, but he says he always calls himself bad, right? He never he always says he's a bad angel, right? And the reason he says he's a bad angel is because he understands that this is a spiritual war, right? Not a flesh and blood war, right? But war against principalities in high places. And the war starts within, you know what I'm saying? In this world, you can't just be a goody, love and light. Everything is pure and rainbows and daffodils and frolicking in this, frolicking in the streets and shit like that. You got to be prepared for war. And one of the things you have to do is, you have to have that edge to you. You know what I'm saying? You got to be balanced where you're not this super nice person or you're not this super evil person, but you're in the middle, right? You're able to do evil to evil and you're able to do good to good, right? So he always calls himself bad the more and more you read and watch interviews.
Well, as somebody who's putting in time on planet Earth here with the rest of us, and I must say that the rest of us are awfully glad you are putting in time here on planet Earth. You're bringing some good music and some humor to us, which is important.
Of course, sense of humor is demanded in this age, and people have to see how ridiculous the situation is. And when you see something ridiculous, you're supposed to laugh. And all they have to do is just look in the mirror at themselves and have a good laugh. Because every human being on this planet is laughable, you might say. And they should see that they have been put in a trick bag by somebody who just got them here. They're not achieving anything and trying hard too. I tried hard as a human being to do some things. Found too many blocks in the way, so I had to reach up to something higher.
So he said he tried hard to be a human being to some things, but he had too many blocks because human is limiting you. It's limited to you to this tangible world to think that all I needed to do was get money and get the right girl or get the right man or get the right car or get the right house or get the right diamonds or get the right shoes or get the right purse or get the right clothing or get the right Gucci, the Prada, the Louis Vuitton, right? Get this, and I'll be the man. I'll be happy. I'll be, that's what's gonna make me shine. You know what I'm saying? If I get the right surgery, you know what I'm saying? I get a BBL. If I, you know, I'm 5'6", so if I get my legs, with the male BBL they call it, when you get the man surgery, where you elongate your legs, and then I'll be happy. Then, wait till I get my money right? These are the mantras we hear. Then I'll be happy, right? But you see how that worked out for Kanye. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to Kanye, but you see how that worked out for Kanye. So trying hard as a human to be happy for what they tell you happiness is, that's not really happiness is a temporary emotion. What you really want to do is be at peace, right? And humanity, the way humanity is set up, that ain't where peace is, right? That's not going to bring you peace of mind. There's people that have way more money than you that are killing themselves and want to kill themselves. Not to say when you get it, you will. But if you don't have peace of mind when you got it, everybody's going to be trying to get it, and everybody's going to be trying to be in your pocket. And if you've ever been around somebody that's wealthy, it's not everything is cracked up to be. Now, the bills are paid, right? You don't got to worry about finances, but there's a lot that goes along with it. Everybody's trying to get your money. But it's better to be rich, and it's better to have money than not have money. I'll tell you that.
And better. And I know what I'm talking about. But do the trick of making a world found too many blocks in the way, so I had to reach up to something higher and better. And I know what I'm talking about. But do the trick of making a world that is a better type of place to live.
Well, I know you are doing that. And actually, this reference to the man in the mirror reminds me of the Michael Jackson song. Is it possible that Sun Ra is moving on up into the world of commercial success, soon to be much more
I'm
a pop musician? Or
I'm going to move into the world of celestial communication success. I have celestial connections, you see. I don't have any French connections, but I do have celestial connections. So then I have to prove to the world, just for their own sake, that, well, this is it. This is it where you have to, this is the exit for you out of the problems. I'm supplying the exit. And I use it through my music, and use my music as a sound bridge for them to walk across the void. This is over into something more than psychic, more than spiritual. I call it like spirit sound.
That's it, and I'm going to take it. This is my exit to get out of here.
All right, so you see he's talking about communicating with the celestial, right? Not communicating with the human, right? And that's what he's not talking about pop music. He's talking about taking people out of here, taking you into your alien DNA, into your ghost DNA by using music to do that, right? And using these frequencies in his music to do that. So you definitely want to tap in with the god Sun Ra, okay? Jazz musician, got a lot of compositions and things like that. And this will help you in this period of time tap into your sun sign energy, into your solar energy, into the highest parts of your energy. And you can listen to this in the background when you're reading, when you're studying, even when you're watching somebody else's YouTube video, have some jazz playing in the background. It'll help you retain the information better. They did a study where they had children who were studying math, and they had them listening to classical music and jazz music. And they found out that the children that were listening to the music retained more of math and understanding the formulas and the equations more than those who in the study they didn't, and gave them the same information to study. So I highly recommend Sun Ra. I call Sun Ra my spiritual grandfather. He's been there. And if you take mushrooms and you listen to Sun Ra music, like Space is the Place, which is right here, and things like that, woo-wee. You want to go to Kemet, you want to go to ancient civilizations in your mushroom trip, that's how you're going to do it. That's how you're going to do it, folks. If you never had that type of mushroom trip where you closed your eyes and you were in ancient civilizations, like I've seen skyboats, I've seen a lot of different things. Some things I don't even want to mention on this thing. But trust me, beyond this veil of this physical world, like I showed you earlier, what you can't see beyond the visible spectrum of the electromagnetic spectrum, a lot going on out there. All right, a lot going on. I'll be mushroom tripping on this full moon, actually, this super moon. There's going to be 2 super moons next month, but again, we'll discuss that tomorrow. So there's a show called Lioness, okay? And it's a special ops show, okay? We talked about segment earlier, and it's about basically a recruit. Now, I only saw the first episode, so I don't know what the rest of it is. I'll probably watch some more of it tonight. It's on Paramount Plus, and it's about, as you see, it's a melanated woman, of course, playing that Sekhmet role, and she's acting just like Sekhmet in this particular film. She's the leader of a squadron, right? She's fierce, she's tough, she don't play no games, she don't take no shit, you know what I'm saying? But she also has a heart, you know what I'm saying, and things like that. And this is all I got from her character in the first episode. But part of it is that there is someone that she is sending undercover to act as if. Now, this ties back into the Sun Ra, what I was talking to you about being your own myth, right? You see, he has Tahuti here, the god of wisdom, and he has Heru or Horus here, the god of will or willpower, the god of the sun, right? Tahuti corresponds to Jupiter, but Heru or Horus corresponds to the sun, right? And this Lioness is about being an actor, stepping into your alter ego, stepping into that, being that, living that, acting as if, right? And as you know, there's an actor strike, right? So the actor strike, as above, so below, right? So the actor strike is saying, okay, we're not playing those roles on TV for you anymore. And of course, there's a deeper thing where they're battling against AI and all that, artificial intelligence. But it's symbolic for you playing the role in your own myth, right? You playing the role in your own myth, right? And another thing you want to get, if you don't have them already, and I think I mentioned this last year in my 888 video, but you could get these Acker lines, all right? These Acker lines, and these are lions. You see them like in front of the New York Public Library, and a lot of libraries, they have these twin lions at the front of the and you could print something out with that, you know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, you could print something now that looks like this, you know, put it on your door, put it on your window, or you could actually buy like these type of lions. And I have 2 lions, so if you come, especially where you do your spiritual work or where your altars are, you know, things like that, you want to have like these 2 lions in front of your door. So when you walk in, you're walking into a temple. And when you walk in, you're walking into a protected space, right? And, you know, like you'll see stuff like that. And you could get these off Amazon. I mean, I could get up and get mine, but I don't want to. But just look up Amazon lions, you know, or Acker lions. You'll be able to pull them up. And they pretty much look just like lions sitting on something. And you can put one on each side of your door, even the front door to your home. Put 2 to the front door of your home, 2 to the front door of your bedroom or your living room or where you're doing the work. So when you walk in, you walk into a temple and you walk into this heliocentric, helios means sun, type of energy. All right. See. That's that. Let me see what y'all talking about. All right. Yeah, all right. So let's keep going. To the next slide. We almost done, y'all. I know I had you for a while, but we almost done. So this is what you want to do and some of the things you want to get out, all right? Get at least 15 minutes of sun, okay? Get some sunshine in your life, all right? It feels different. It's hitting different, all right? I ain't gonna lie to you, man. It's good. Yeah, you're gonna sweat, but guess what? You detoxing when you're sweating. Guess what? You're opening up those HeLa cells, all right? And guess what? You're activating your pineal gland. Guess what? You're activating your serotonin and your melatonin, right? Serotonin is your mood enhancer for your gut, right? The melatonin is going to give you strength in your dreams when you go into the dream world of your subconscious, right? Which is the real world. You're going to dive deep and be able to extract information that's going to come in the form of symbols. So you need to become symbol literate, right? You got to do the work. So benefits of sunshine. Sunshine directly affects the brain's pineal gland. It's the gland that produces melatonin, a powerful antioxidant that is important for sleep quality, and that helps prevent depression. All right. It boosts immunity, reduces cancer risk, improves mood, improves sleep, better bone health, heals skin disorders, improves brain function, lowers blood pressure. All right. So these are all the benefits of being out in the sun. You want to get at least 15 minutes a day if you can. All right. Go out for lunch. Yeah, it's hot. Yeah, that's what the news tells you. But if you're in a melanated body or a person of darker hue or a person that is able to take it, then you are privileged here on this planet. That means there's a higher calling for you. So you want to go out and take advantage of it as much as you possibly can. All right. You want to go out in nature, right? And meditate in nature, in a park, while the sun is on you, if you can, your backyard, your front yard, right? Et cetera, et cetera. Find a spot, meditate. Get that light up in you while you're meditating so you can take advantage of those neutrinos and those light codes, all right? Light codes are information. Light is information, all right? So this is going to help you on your spiritual journey and on your spiritual path. And grounding as well. So if you could do this on the earth, even better. All right. If you could do this on actual earth, even better. And journaling. All right. You want to take this information that you're getting and write it down. You want to write down your dreams. You want to be writing down your daily plans and your daily goals. All right. You want to put these things out there. All right. Leo is about the sun. This is about this solar energy. Okay. This is how you tap into your magic, all right? These are the processes. These are the work. Yeah, this lecture is cool. Yeah, I'm dropping great information. Shout out to me and my ancestors for giving it to me to give to y'all, right? But if I didn't put these slides together and take the time that it took to put these slides together, y'all wouldn't have it, right? There's plenty. I could be watching Netflix, you know what I'm saying? I could be doing a lot of other things, right? But I do this because this is my calling and I have to do the work. All right. So here you have it. So write things down, put things down, make things happen. You know what I'm saying? These slides started out on something just like this. Okay. Me writing notes. All right. Me journaling. Okay. So start to journal if you don't already. All right. This will help you also do some shadow work and help you become less aimless and write out things in your mind that put them to actual paper. All right. There's power in scripting and writing things out. I have a video on scripting you could look up if you search my name and look up scripting and the magic of scripting and how to do it effectively. Let's keep going. Grounding for the heart. All right. So grounding techniques. All right. Time in nature. Go to your favorite trail or wooded area and go for a stroll. Okay. Meditation. Meditation balances many of the circuits within the NEM network. I don't know what the NEM network is. I looked it up, but I'm going to assume they're talking about just overall balance, right, in your body. Walking barefoot. All right. Grounding, feeling the earth, feeling that energy for connecting. Okay. Trying some tech. All right. Earthing mat. You can get an earthing mat on Amazon. I've never tried it, so I can't recommend it, but they recommended it. Try it. If you can't get out in nature, try getting an earthing mat, all right? Hug it, but I recommend just being on the earth, not getting an actual mat, all right? I recommend being on the physical soil, right? And getting the energy, those neutrinos that way, the negative ions. And by negative ions, it's not like bad, right? Positive is masculine energy, negative is feminine energy. So it's just allowing that solar energy to come through the soles of your feet, right? Into the soul of your body. Hugging trees, okay? Reading by a tree, okay? And you want to eat light, okay? Fruits and veggies for light codes. You don't like veggies, you don't like fruits, right? Get smoothies, all right? Get natural fruit smoothies, get natural vegetable fruit smoothies, okay? You don't want to be eating a lot of burgers, a lot of heavy meats, too often, right? This is the time you want to tap into salads and stuff like that, fruit in the morning and things like that. All the stuff Yaki, if you know Yaki Awakened, right? Stuff he talks about. This is the ideal time for that and to make that shift in the diet. You want your body to be as light as possible, especially in the summer, right? You want more water and things like that, more drinks and things like that, fruit juices and natural fruit juices and things like that to be in your body so that you can take advantage of those light codes, because green foods, right? The heart chakra is the color green. So green foods have literally solar energy. So you're literally eating solar flares. You're eating parts of the sun, right? The meats and all that shit, them shit's got GMOs, them shit's got everything in them. Again, y'all know me and them hot wings, all right? I had them hot wings Friday, you know what I'm saying? But today, I had a motherfucking salad, you know what I'm saying? So you see the video, I had the salad Thursday night, Wednesday night, then Thursday, right? Had my hot wings yesterday, right? All I had was my hot wings all day yesterday. And I had one meal, well, 2 meals, because I split the hot wings in 2 meals. And then I had a salad today, and that's it. It's already almost 11 o'clock. I ain't eating nothing again. You know what I'm saying? I might have a snack, like a candy bar as a snack, chocolate, and before I meditate, and that's about it. So you want to be able to tap into this particular energy via your diet. The gut produces serotonin, and that is 90% of your mood, right? And it is in the gut, is in the belly, right? Everything starts from that area, root, solar, sacral chakra area of the gut, and moves up. So if you're not fueling the gut properly, right, how can you get to where you need to go? This is the science of what Bobby Hemming was talking about, in my opinion. And when he talked about, I healed myself with peach soda. It's not necessarily that peach soda is healing, right? It's about the joy that you get from drinking the peach soda every once in a while. It's the joy I got from eating them hot wings once in a while. But if I'm eating hot wings every day, right, and I know this is the season of not eating hot wings every day, which would be more the winter where I need those heavier foods, right, because my body is cold, I'm going against nature. So it's all about tapping into energy. This is the real work, right? This is not lectures or books. This is the real work to get you to the level of where you want to get and to tap into these spiritual abilities, these clairs that you say you want, right? You ain't going to get it from books or lectures or people teaching you. You have to actually do the work and make the sacrifices. And one of the reasons we're doing that is because you see what's happening from people who took the hokey pokey, the jibbity jabba, the yabba jabba do, right? The shot that rocked the world, or the shots that rocked the world, right? Bronny James suffers cardiac arrest, okay? You look at Elon Musk. He says, we cannot ascribe everything to the vaccine. But by the same token, we cannot ascribe nothing. Myocarditis is a rare known side effect, all right? This is, again, more truth, right? More light codes, right? The only question is whether it's rare or common, all right? And he's saying this is a side effect from the hokey pokey, all right? This is a multi-billionaire saying this. Not just me, okay? And y'all know my videos are there from 2020, me super advocating and dropping science on what the jab was, what it contained, what it was doing, et cetera, and why you shouldn't take it, right? But obviously people still did it because they got to work and whatever. Hey, everybody got their own path to walk. But we see what's happening. Shaka Hislop, right? An announcer, the soccer team, right? He's talking, standing up talking, right? And just drops out of nowhere. Okay? Both these things happen this month. So you can eat what you want, right? Toxify yourself as much as possible. If you got that hokey pokey in you, you want to do these things. You want to get out, get that sun to burn some of that shit out. You want to eat and do some grounding to get some of that shit out. And you want to tap in so you don't suffer one of these situations that happen. And unfortunately, you're going to see these things more and more and more and more and more. You see in Europe during this heat wave, people are dying left and right? There's many, many people that are dying left and right in Europe based on these heat waves, all right? You think of most of them, especially those places like in Europe that you had to, like it's like 98% of people with the jab think in America is like 80 something according to stats, but it's like 98% in like Australia and Europe and shit. And these people are dropping like flies. They telling you it's the heat, but it's a different type of heat. All right, that's all I'll say. We had Ice Cube meeting with Tucker Carlson. Everybody was up in arms, right? This is another sign of the times, all right? Ice Cube birthday is June 15th, and his zodiac sign is Gemini. People born in the Gemini are known to be curious, communicative, and expressive. They often like to learn new things and enjoy the variety of life. As a Gemini, Ice Cube is a natural storyteller, which has served him well in his career in music, film, and television. All right, now everybody was up in arms about Ice Cube meeting with Tucker Carlson. Me personally, I don't give a fuck, right? I'm still gonna ride with Ice Cube until he shows me anything crazy, because he was dropping all that science. I don't, dismiss melanated people as quick as most people do. Even though most people that say they're pro-black, as soon as somebody that they don't like or they like does something that they does something that they don't like, the pro-blacks will flip on them, which is ironic to me. You know what I'm saying? But I did say this interesting. He had on a Monster Energy drink cap. I don't know if he's an investor or anything like that in Monster Energy, right? But I did bring this left part of the slide to show that, it is time for communication, right? It is time to step out and be with people that may not necessarily agree with your viewpoints or may not agree with you with all your politics. Ice Cube is not a Democrat or Republican. He's just Ice Cube, right? He does no political affiliation. So him being with Tucker Carlson, I don't see how he's betraying the race. And I want to say this, right? I live in New York City. I've actually met Bill O'Reilly, who used to be on Fox News. Bill O'Reilly, right? And some of these Fox News people that say and talk about these things, they're not necessarily these people, okay, that they show you on TV. Some of these people are just playing a role, right? They're playing antagonists. They got a job to do. They have people, a base, right? They have people that they know they could say certain things and fuel them. Now, is it right? Is it necessarily just? No. But is it right for, a woman to be saying, I'm eating ass in London and I want my coochie scratched in public places? Is it right for, certain things that, a lot of things that's happening, molestation and, older women sleeping with young boys not being talked about, and just a lot of things that are quote unquote not right, right? These things exist, these things happen, right? So when we talk about 666 on a monster, when I see 666 and unleashing the beast, I'm more so thinking about the beast as that segment, that Leo energy, right? As the sign of that energy coming up. And you could use the energy of the beast to be a demiurge, right? Or be down with the demiurge. Or you could use the energy of the beast to rise into your healing segment power, or your raging segment power, or your lion, your expressive, your strength, your displaying who you truly are, your courage, right? Your willpower, engaging willpower, breaking bad habits, right? So you could tap into different parts of the monster, right? And you see that that's the Hebrew numerals, right? The mark of the beast, so to speak. Is the mark of the beast a physical thing, or is it a metaphor, right? It's a symbolism, right? You can't take anything in the Bible literal. If you still think somebody raised the staff and part of the Red Sea, if you still think that Jonah was in a well for 3 days and you know what I'm saying, and when you can't be physically live in a well, this is a scientific fact, right? But you think God did it, but you see none of these things happen in the modern day at all, right? You think every single animal, when there's billions of species of animal, fit on the ark that's on Earth, something the size of a football field, every animal plus Noah fit on, right? Then, enjoy the fantasy, right? I don't knock Christians. Whatever it's going to take to get you to where you need to get spiritually and make you a better person, I'm all for it. I don't hate, because I was once a Christian. So I don't hate on Christians at all. But I do know that now is going to be a time where a lot of that shit is unraveling too. Even in that community, you're going to see more and more things unraveling and more truths. And I posted something again on my Instagram page where a guy that was a Christian was talking about how the Christian community hustles their own people, right? As far as monetarily, and sells them dreams, right? So these are truths that are coming out in every area of society, right? There's nothing wrong communicating with people who don't agree with you. You just got to stand on your square. That's it. But people do business all the time, right? America doesn't necessarily like China, but most of your stuff comes from China, right? Most of the stuff here comes from China. Your PlayStations, your phones, right? Or your iPhone. Samsung makes the motherfucking glass on your iPhone. There's Samsung phones. A lot of your tech, right? Your TV. A lot of these stuff comes from China, right? Or the chips are built in Taiwan. The semiconductor chips. So people build with people they don't like all the time. So we got to learn to step out of these quote unquote boxes, these black boxes where everything is just black. We only dealing with black people. No, the white man, white woman, the Caucasian is your child, right? They're the last people on the planet. I personally believe, well, let me not go into that. Let's keep it going. Because I don't want to get strayed. I've already been here 2 hours and I don't respect y'all time. Let me see what y'all talking about. All right. Shout out to everybody that is here. All right. I appreciate that, Dr. Bombay. She said, what is an earthing mat? I saw the earthing mat on Amazon. It's supposed to be something, a mat that you could, I really don't know, to be honest. I didn't really look that deep into it. Maybe you could do some research while I'm doing this lecture straight. Not say you have to, and come back in the comments and let me know. Because I saw it, but I didn't really dive deep into it. It looks like something that possibly generates energy, but it's not natural. But, I don't know. I really don't know that much about it, to be honest. Oh, peace to Cash Barbie. What's up, Cash Barbie? All right, let's continue going. So, right, Hecka Power activated, okay? From 7/25/2023 equals 777. Speak it out loud, okay? So your Hecka is a deity, a Kemetic deity, right? Which deals with the word. Also Ptah, right? Ptah, if you heard Ptah, you hear talk, right? Kemet, Egypt. Everybody should know that. That's conscious nigga 101, right? But I'm a teacher, so I'm gonna teach it. But Mercury is in Leo, and this started on 7/25. This started on 7/77, right? I'm not making this up. You can look this up yourself. When Mercury went into Leo, okay? So everybody talks about Mercury retrograde, but who's looking at Mercury in Leo, okay? So Mercury and Leo have an authoritative manner and know how to draw in a crowd with their incredible flair. Now, I ran an experiment. Yeah, your boy Rob Blackstorm, I'm a scientist, so I run experiments. So I told myself, I said, Tuesday, I said, Monday I do sales. You guys that follow me know this. I'm a salesman by trade, right? And I'm a salesman by trade. And I remember I told myself, yo, when I woke up in the morning, I usually take 15 minutes before I touch my phone and, scroll and shit like that. I visualize my day. So I take 15 minutes when my brain is in theta waves and just left the subconscious realm. So it's in the most highly programmable, and now your brain is in the most highly programmable time, right before bed and right. So those are the two most important times of your day, right before bed and right before you wake up. All right. And Tuesday, I told myself I had a bad sales day Monday and I had a bad sales day last Friday. And I said, you know what? I'm going to tell myself out loud, I want 2 deals, right? So I want to get 2 deals, right? And so Tuesday, I woke up, I said, I want to get 2 deals. Do you know I got those 2 deals? Did the same thing Wednesday. Another 2 deals, right? Signed 2 people, which doesn't seem like a lot, but those deals make money, right? So not only am I speaking things into existence, but they're helping me monetarily as well. Third day, Thursday, right? I said, I'm gonna experiment. I ain't gonna say it. You know what I'm saying? So I got 1 deal. but I got that deal late in the day. So I didn't even get to put it up till Friday. So technically I had no deals Thursday and I got a deal Friday, right? And Friday I was kind of burnt out, so I didn't really go hard. So that's really on me. So, but I didn't say I wanted to get any deals because I already knew waking up I was tired and I didn't want to go hard. It's a long month of hustling. So I say that to say that, and I've also been speaking other things into existence and seeing them manifest, right? Which I won't get into on a public platform. But right now, you have the ability to draw things to you speedily by speaking it out loud, speaking it into the mirror, speaking it into your environment. Okay, this is the energy and the time frame that we are in, but you have to tap into that energy. No one can do it for you. I can't do the work for you. All right, I can tell you, I can teach you. I'm giving you these slides the best way I know how, but this is how you got to walk them dogs, as they say. All right, you got to do the work. You got to do the speaking. All right, and you start by speaking. I am going to get 2 deals. I am abundant. I am manifesting money. I am manifesting a new home. I am. And start speaking these things into existence in a repetitious manner. And you're going to be building your spiritual muscle. The same way you got to go to the gym and lift weights or go to the gym and hit that treadmill to lose weight, right? The same way you have to do these things on repetitive manners, the same way you're going to do this in a repetitive manner. And journaling and all that stuff is going to help. And the meditation and the grounding and the diet, right? Combination of doing this work, right? It ain't gonna come to you out the sky. The aliens ain't gonna give it to you, my nigga. All right? Aliens ain't gonna give it to you. They're not coming down with a magic wand and going bibbity boppity boop on your head. If you're waiting for that, I don't know what to tell you, man. You might as well go back to church and wait for Jesus to come. I ain't knocking you if that's what you need to do. It's okay. This path is not for everybody. It's never what's supposed to be. It's trendy now, but this is really only built for Cuban links. Shout out to Raekwon. All right? So speak it out loud. Oh, look what happened. Okay, listen to Miss Scoochie Scratched, okay? She said this on 720, okay? 720. Remember I told you about the sun sign, right? Earlier, the 2 circles, right? The heliocentric, which I showed you, Sun Ra, the sun focus, okay? The 2 circles, 720 being 2 circles, 360 twice, okay? And she said, Dr. Umar might be the one to turn me into a wife. Well, what happens? She manifests Dr. Umar. So even in your righteousness, even in your lowest and your low, Spirit knows you can manifest what you want now. Your word is very powerful. What you say is very powerful right now. They're not going to tell you that. Now imagine how many people who are saying to themselves, oh, I don't look good. Oh, I'm not handsome. Oh, I'm not that pretty. Oh, I'm not that smart. Oh, I'm poor. Oh, I'm broke. Oh, I'm in the struggle. Oh, I'm in the mud. I'm ghetto as fuck. My kids are bad. I can't figure this out. I don't know what I'm going to do, right? And let me sage all that. I don't mean none of that. I'm just saying that to teach. I'm just saying that to teach, ancestors. Don't cast that on me. I'm abundant. Good things come to me easily. I'm powerful. I am royal. I am magnetic. I am manifesting all good things. Let me sage that shit off me, right? Just give me an example. And this is how I treat the hecker. This is how I treat, because I've been manifesting some dope shit. You know what I'm saying? Dope, great things. And I want to share this with y'all, man, and to show you the power. She manifested this. You know what I'm saying? Say what you want to say. Talk what you want to talk. But this is real time. Real things are going. Big things are going. All right? Let's keep going. So this is a healing bath recipe, right? Stay hydrated spiritually. Okay, this is something you want to do if you can Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, right? But if tomorrow's the only way you could do it, that's fine too. You know what I'm saying? But you want to create a healing bath. You have up until, I say, Wednesday, Thursday next week to get this in. And the reason being is because we have that full moon in Aquarius, and we're in the Aquarian age, and it's a super moon. This is one of the 2 super moons. We have one in Aquarius and one later down the line in Pisces, right? I think it's a new moon in Pisces, if I'm correct. And but I know it's the full moon in Aquarius coming up. And again, you hopefully you guys tap in tomorrow at 1. Me and Divine Feminine Works and the Moon Mama, Monique Ruffin, will be discussing that, some of the retrogrades and things that's going on, some of the transits. But yes, you could take this bath, right? A healing bath, right? With some lotus oil, rose oil, rose petals, rose buds, right? We can't get the oil, you can get the rose petals and rose buds, right? Frankincense oil, myrrh oil. If you can't get that, again, you could get the frankincense and myrrh, the actual solid, right? Although they're going to be kind of tough because frankincense and myrrh is kind of crystalline, but hey, if you put it in the hot water, I'm sure it has some resonance to it, right? Rose quartz crystal, okay? Healing of the heart, opening up of the heart chakra. Your boy got on some rose quartz right now talking to y'all, all right? All right, I got on some rose quartz right now. So I'm not only a client, I'm the prayer presidents, right? Cam era, exactly, right? The area camera, right? Maybe a sports show if you're into sports, right? To tap into that frequency or that pink energy, right? But this is what's going to compose of your spiritual bath, right? Light some candles, make it a good time. And as I say right here, this is the easiest time to break bad habits. Okay, this is the easiest time to break bad habits. This is the easiest time to break bad habits. Can't stress this enough. But you got to do the work. You got to step out your comfort zone, and you got to get out your fucking feelings, because feelings aren't facts. And you're going to be feeling a lot of shit. You're going to see a lot of people around you feeling a lot of shit and acting on it. You got to be the leader and say, I'm not going to be the one. Okay? You got to be like when they took Trey in Boys in the Hood, and they was going to smoke homie, and he was like, yo, let me out. Right? You got to be the one. Let me out the car. Let me out the car. I ain't going to do the drive-by with y'all. Let me out the car. All right, you got to be the one to lead. You got to be the one to step into your truth. You got to be the one to say, yo, this is who I am. And this is what I'm going to stand on. And that's perfectly fine. And if you take a loss, if it dies, it dies. If they die, they die. All right, you're going to come out in the end better, more powerful, right? Go overcoming any challenge and any crossroads. It only leads to more spiritual power. Even if it seems like you're losing something, you're only gaining more. In fact, you never lose because you're everything. You're made of everything. You're a plate of stardust. You're made of everything in the universe. So how can you lose? You never lose anything, right? Even if you might break up with somebody, you didn't really lose them because there's a lesson in that particular relationship that you have to learn. And you might go back to the person again. And you might need to learn the lesson again, right? It happens. Happened to your man, all right? When I went into a relationship, shit that wasn't working, I wanted to make it work because I, quote unquote, loved that person. And when I realized it wasn't love, it was lust and it was attachment. It was a comfort zone, right? It was something I was comfortable with. It was something I didn't want to lose. I didn't want to see that person with someone else. I didn't want to see that person happy with somebody else. I wanted them to just be happy with me, but they weren't for me. So I didn't lose them when I decided it's time to leave, right? I gained more. I gained better women. I gained better experiences. Shit, I even gained more money. All right? Now, in between that time, I had hardship, right? Because I had to move out and change everything. You know what I'm saying? Did some couch surfing, right? It was tough for a little bit. But eventually, over time, me being in the spirit, me knowing these things that I'm teaching you now, right, led me to where I am today and where I'm continuing to go, right? I'm not worried about money. I'm not living check to check, right? People around me love me and care about me and concerned about me. My life is pretty much drama-free. I ain't going to lie to you. My kids are doing well, right? I really don't have drama in my life anymore. But it took time to get there. It took work to get there. All right? And I'm still growing. So you can do that too. I'm no better than anybody else. And I'm not trying to stunt. I'm just saying maybe 2016, 2017, I couldn't say all this, right? But I can say this now because I put the work in. Before 2016, 2017, I was just intellectual. I knew everything. I read everything. I could respond to everything. I could have the talks with people, right? I could discuss the things. But was I actually doing the work? I can't say no. I knew a lot of my history. I knew what was wrong with the world. I knew what the government was doing. I knew what the secret societies were doing, right? I knew what the aliens were doing. I knew what motherfucking the politicians, right, were doing. I knew what the celebrities were doing. I knew how everything was against me. But what I did not nurture was what was for me and what was going to benefit me. So the spirit bath will help you to open this up, and you'll start to see people for who they truly are. Don't get scared. If they're for you, they'll let you know. If they're not for you, you'll know. So let's go into, we're almost done, y'all. So find your utopia, okay? Find your utopia. Define your utopia. So this is one of the things you want to write down, even after this. If you were to design a perfect world in which you and your friends would live, what would you be looking for? All right? Make a list of as many requirements for your utopia as you can generate in 10 minutes. Now, you don't have to do that 10-minute thing. That's just based on the screenshot I stole, right? But what is a utopia? A utopia is an imagined place or state of things in which everything is perfect. So what does your perfect life look like? Now, there's really no such thing as quote-unquote perfection, but you can have the perception of perfection, which will lead you into things that are more perfect, aka a drama-free life, aka financial abundance, aka good health, aka spiritual powers and abilities, aka magnetic power and force, aka spiritual protection, right? AKA good family and friends and community, so forth and so on, right? So define your utopia, right? Travis dropped the album called Utopia, right on the eve of a full super moon. He was going to do it on the pyramid, at the pyramid. Now, everybody talks about their losses and what they're doing to us, but nobody talks about the wins, right? The win was to stop him from doing a performance, right, on a day of the Lions Gate, which I believe it was, forgot what day it was. I believe it was sometime this week he was going to do it. I think it was Tuesday or some shit. And they was like, nah, you got the permits. We ain't with this ritual shit. We know your sonic ability and what you're doing and all that. But if you look, he dropped a video called God's Country, right? Where he talks about being on demon time and the children on demon time. And, you know, if you look at the kids, these are kids, and it's all mostly children in the video. I don't think he's even in it, right? And it's mostly children in urban environments that are impoverished. And he's talking about being on demon time, right? And he calls it God's country. So they're going to be pushing their narrative. They're going to be doing what they do to take you off your square, to take your children off their square. You got to be the ones to teach your children, and you got to be the ones to have focus. I haven't listened to Travis Scott album yet. I probably will because I'm a scientist, so I got to see what the fuck he's doing to the masses and what my kids may or may not be listening to, so I could put them onto game on what's real. And, you know, this is something that is out there. Evil doesn't have to make you become evil. Evil just has to take you off your path and keep you distracted. And the aliens, the Travis Scott, and what they're doing to us, man, ain't nobody doing nothing to you. Ain't nobody doing nothing to me if that's your perception, right? If that's your perception. Ain't nobody doing nothing to your kids. Ain't nobody doing nothing to them. And we ain't here to save nobody. If you give somebody advice, that's different. But I ain't here to save nobody. Not even y'all that's watching. I'm here to give you this advice, give you this wisdom, give you this gnosis. And what you do with it is up to you, right? Make your life your utopia. You know what I'm saying? Create your own utopia. Define your own utopia. Find your utopia with that, all right? And don't look for it through celebrity, right? That's not going to get you anywhere, all right? They may be so-called financially successful in the limelight, but who knows what they are. Do they really have utopia with that, all right? And Travis Scott is definitely doing rituals with this music. If you listen to look at some of his song titles and see some of the imagery in the videos, he's and his father has been in the music industry for years, so he's obviously a puppeteer. He may even be under some type of MK Ultra, right? Who knows? Who cares? It's about you at the end of the day. and what you need to do in your magic, right? And your ability to manifest what you want, your unique powers. All right. So, and this is also Leo season. This is the sign where we're dealing with the Egyptian deity Heru, aka Horus in the Greek, right? This is Tiferet on the Kabbalah, Hebrew Kabbalah, and this is Shango on in the Ifa Yoruba Voodoo tradition. All right. And the truisms of Heru is you have the power, but not the right to ignore God's law. Choose to follow the law of God with love and joy that grows out of your understanding, and the wisdom of God's spirit will flow through your being. All right. So this is where you go through these battles, right? These simple battles that are big battles on you want to do this, you feel like doing this, but you need to do this, right? That's willpower when you overcome your emotions. Reasoning. If we have been given free will, why should we give into emotions that have proven to be detrimental to our well-being? Why not choose to be at peace in all situations of challenge, especially since it's the key to wisdom, power, and happiness? All right. So you do these things not begrudgingly. You do these things with peace of mind when you're trying to overcome these urges, right? Spirit's telling me some of y'all are addicted to masturbation, right? Some of y'all have been wanking your wanker and twiddling your button, twiddling your buttons below excessively. Okay. Some of y'all need to discipline that, right? Or you want to reserve that to a day like Friday, right? A Venus day, where that's sanctioned, right? That type of work is sanctioned if you don't have a partner and shit like that. If you have a partner, I mean, people masturbate with partners all the time, so I can't say that, but you definitely want to try to reserve and hold some of that chi energy, especially during this time when your Kundalini energy is at its peak, right? Where it's hot and dry. So you want to be as hydrated as possible so that you can stir this Kundalini energy, right? This will help you. So it says, why not choose to be at peace in situations of challenge, especially since this is the key to wisdom, power, and happiness. So some Heru truisms. I understand that anytime I have the freedom to act as if I have successfully overcome a given emotion. All right. So this is your freedom to see above the clouds, to see above the cloudiness of emotion. My freedom to choose is the essence of my divinity. All right. People say, oh, I was angry. I had to do it. You know, people are doing hundreds to life, 25 to life, talking about, oh, this is the way I felt, or, I was in my emotions, threw their life away because of an emotion that they felt like they had to give into. All right. I will, therefore I am free. I am never compelled to do anything by my emotions and passion. Okay. God does not compel me to do what is right. How then can the animal within me compel me to do what is wrong? Shall I make Set or Satan or the animal within, right? The demons within, right? Which is the animals. Shall I make Set greater than God? My emotions of children are children of impotent revolt. Okay? They have no power. Impotency. They have no power. Of impotent revolt. I have the freedom to hold myself in check and take a view of the whole before acting. Okay? Take a third before you just respond emotionally to something on the internet, something on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, TikTok, and you just share it in the world. Take some time to think. Does this make sense? Is this logical? Could this be a deep fake video? Could this image have been doctored? Could this voice have been doctored? Is this really real? And most importantly, is this helping me protect my peace of mind every day? Is it helping me become more powerful? Is it helping the people that I'm sharing it with become higher versions of themselves? Or am I just sharing drama, bullshit, fear, right? More warnings and this is what's going to happen and watch out for this and blah, 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 right? There's enough of that out there. You know what I'm saying? There's enough of that out there to fill 1 million books about warnings and this is what's going to happen. This is what they're going to do. And this is what the government's doing. This is what they need to do. Yes, you need to eat healthy. Yes, you need to watch less TV. Yes, you need to meditate. Yes, you need to ground. Yes, you need to journal. Yes, you need to do all these things to overcome the negative bullshit that they're putting out. Yes, the chemtrails are here. Yes, the water's being manipulated. Yes, the food is GMO. All that shit is there. But what that doesn't matter, right? If you're doing things to combat that, right? If you are battling effectively, right? And the first battle starts within. Mind moves matter, right? So this is how you use your willpower, right? It's not powered by your emotions. It's powered by your mind. It's powered by your heart, really, right? And what your heart desire really is. And what your heart desire really is and really wants is you to become God on earth, you to become a vessel of the divine on earth, you to become one with the Netaru or the natural here on earth, for you to make the subconscious conscious. You are never compelled to do anything by your emotions and passion. All right. And this is the time for that, where you can tap into that easily. So, two things you could watch is The Lion King, is Black is King, right? To refresh yourself about who the fuck you are, right? And how powerful you really are. And if you're in a state of Hakuna Matata right now, right? Not caring, not doing anything, just watching and listening to somebody like Rob Blackstorm or watching Brother Rich's channel or whatever, whoever you're watching, right? And just living living a dream, right? Of nothing and just going by, right? No plans, no passion, no purpose, no nothing, right? Tap into these movies, all right? Leopard Skin, War by Priests and Kings of Kemet, all right? African, pardon the M, the misspelling. Ancient African symbols of royalty and divinity. So you see Beyonce, who was a master magician, master witch, right? Whatever you want to call her. Goddess supreme, right? She's showing you the energy, okay, of that leopard. Leopard is also worn on the usually on the seats of the king. Even if you watch a movie like The Woman King, you'll see that the king, the male king, was sitting on a seat of leopard skin, right? And they still have this in parts of West Africa, like Ghana and things like that, when the indigenous kings will be sitting on leopard skin chairs, all right? So it's a symbol of royalty and divinity, all right? So hence the imagery. And when this part of the movie comes on, I don't want to decode it, but you'll see how this corresponds to that particular scene. All right. And also you want to listen to the soundtrack too. Black is King, Beyonce soundtrack, along with the Sun Ra music I talked about earlier. Black is King is a powerful soundtrack as well, as far as indigenous spiritual vibes. All right. So Beyonce plays in the yin and yang world a lot. All right. She knows what she's doing. Or the people around her, they know what they're doing. And embrace your inner God power, all right? Not your limited humanity, okay? This is, don't get out of the gender wars, all right? This is what it's supposed to look like, okay? This is what it's supposed to look like, okay? Being nurtured by the woman, the man leading with logic and reasoning, right? The woman, she'll giving wisdom and things like that. You see she has a cup in her hand providing water, okay? Water flow, emotional flow. Okay, you see both of their heads are blue, representing the third eye chakra, right? He has the Kundalini snakes, right? Up here, right? She has the plumes, right? Representing her connection to the electromagnetic radiation. You see both of them are peaking, right? There's a lot in this particular image. You see the sun right here with what they call the Uraeus, right? The snakes are considered the Uraeus with solar disk, okay? This is the energy too, where you can find your boot. Okay, it's summer. People out here moving and grooving, okay? You can find somebody spiritual just like you, somebody that's on the same wavelength as you. But are you embracing your inner God power? Are you strong enough and powerful enough to attract your reflection? You could attract somebody that's all the things that you desire, but can you be a partner to them? Can you be a helper to them? Can you be an inspiration to them? Are you able to make somebody better via the way you live naturally. All right? So embrace your inner God power in order to connect with the opposite sex. We're not with the gender wars. We're not with high value men and modern women. We don't talk like that on this side. All right? We talk about what we want, not what we don't want. All right? Now, are there issues with relationships now? Is there issues in melanated relationships? Of course there are, right? We come from slavery. We come from the crack era, right? Two different distinct forms of slavery and distinct forms of breaking up the quote unquote black or melanated family, right? But we have the ability to now, in the age of Aquarius, the beginning stages, the age of knowing, which is going to be for the next 100, 2,500 years, and with the power of Heka, speak your man into existence, boo. Speak your woman into existence, my nigga, right? Do certain rituals, and you will see these things manifest. I promise you. I can't tell you all about my business, but I promise you, it will manifest who you want, and it may take some time. You may be out here with all these different people you're sleeping with. You might have to need to take a break and step back and see what you really want and what you really need to improve on. You may need to step back, do some shadow work, tap into the lessons of the past relationships that you done skipped off because you blamed them for what they did instead of learning the lessons. Sometimes step back. You might need to ask the ex, yo, I was in this relationship with you, and, I know it didn't work, man. What could I have done better? Or how did you perceive me in that relationship? Or what were my issues? And really be humble enough to take their light in and process what that is and how it could make you better for the next relationship. Get out of your negative ego, the stubbornness of that ego of thinking you know it all. And you were the only one that's right, and everybody in the relationship was wrong. No, you chose that motherfucker. You chose them to come into your life. You opened your legs. You slid your penis in. Ain't nobody tell you to do it. You did it on your own. You chose that relationship. So why? And what lesson is in it for you? Embrace your inner God power to manifest people. And some people of the opposite sex are not meant to just be sex. Some people of the opposite sex are meant to be your companions in life to help you get to another aspect of life or another aspect on your journey. Some people are there for a season. Some people are there for a reason. Everybody's not meant to go the lifetime or the length with you. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? And even if you're sleeping with people casually, make sure the people that you're sleeping casually are at least people that you like, or at least people that you kind of know, not just people that look a certain way surfacely, right? You want to get to know these inner persons, have conversations, right? Get to feel their vibe if you really like them, if you really fuck with them, right? So at least if you're doing that, right, you're still tapped in somewhat to your highest level of spirituality. People are sleeping with people they don't even like. They just looking at them and seeing they're attractive, right? And we've all been there. I've been there. I ain't judging, but I am saying that that was the time to not be doing that because your Kundalini energy, your Ra energy, your Chi energy is too high for that shit. You know what I'm saying? And the wrong person, their light could soak into you. Sex is sacred energy exchange. All right. So we got tomorrow, full moon in Aquarius. Okay, 8/1 to 8/3, 2023. It's going to be live at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope you all tap in with me with Divine Feminine Works and the Moon Mama. And I am Rob Blackstorm. Okay, thank you for spending this time with me. Let me see if you guys have any questions here. Let me look in the comments. If you guys have any questions, drop it. Drop it. All right. Yeah, and hit that like button, that share button, that subscribe button. Shout out to Hollow Vegeta. I saw the donation. If you want to donate, if this gave you any value, I do take cash apps. All right. $ Rob Blackstorm 7. If you guys have any, this is a 3-hour live, but I hope I provided you a lot of value in this 3-hour live. And I hope it showed you what this time is, how important it is with all these solar flare, with all this heat how if you are melanated, this is your time right now. I mean, this is your time. This is really your time. This year, this 7 year, 2023 equals 7, right? We're 777 window, right? Entering the Lions Gate on 8-8, right? Sirius is popping right now. I've showed you the rainbow colors of Sirius, right? I try to make this as detailed as possible. Spirit baths, crystals, rituals, right? Deities, right? All these things that you could do. Now is the time. Now is the time. Now is the time. Work on these bad habits, right? Get out of your, the thing that they always say about us melanated beings is that we're emotionally unstable. Here's a book if you want to understand, speaking of Sun Ra, right? The Power of Myth by Joseph Campbell, okay? There's also a video you could find online, right, with Joseph Campbell. You can find videos of Joseph Campbell. He's one of the writers of Star Wars, right? One of the best mythologies out there, right? With Luke and the Force, right? Now the Force is here, okay? The Force is here on the planet, literally. You're breathing in Force right now. This ain't like the winter. This ain't like the spring. This is Kundalini rising, Leo season time, all right? Kundalini rising time. And it's only going to get more and more intense as we continue to go, all right? So this is a book you could tap into. It's not that expensive. The Power of Myth, right? This is also a good book. The Mukaddima, right? This is a little heavy reading, right? But I want to share something in here about you melanated beings. And again, if you have questions, put that in the comments, or else I'm gonna get out of here pretty soon. Like I said, it's been a 3-hour video, but I appreciate your time. It says that we have seen that Negroes are in general. This is on page 63 of this book. It says we have seen that Negroes. The influence of climate upon human behavior. All right, the influence of climate upon human behavior. So we know they're talking about climate change. Climate change is for you and I, those of us that are the melanated avatars, right? Those of us that are of darker hues, right, than the pilgrim. This is our time, right? If people that are lighter skinned, Caucasian people, they're supposed to be following our lead. Okay, you're the gods. They're supposed to be following your lead. That's why you're born in this avatar. This is supposed to be the last stop before this avatar, this melanated avatar, is supposed to be the last stop before you take your ass back into your home of Sirius. Before you take your ass through Orion's belt, which they talked about in Men in Black, and take your ass back to Sirius for reprocessing and to be who you truly are. If you ever taken a mushroom trip, that's who you truly are. That's how your real vision is. That's the real world. And you'll see the mushroom trip, the psilocybin, basically is taking you to the dream state, right? Only thing is, it's in the subconscious has now become fully conscious when you are on that psilocybin, okay? But that's really where you're supposed to be. That's what real life is. This ain't real life. This is an upside down world. When light comes into the eyes, right, it literally goes through a process. There's 2 pyramids, right, that it goes through in the lens, and it literally turns the upside down right side up. So we are in literally an upside down world, all right? Let me read this. The effect of climate, I'm going to add change, the effect of climate change upon human character. We have seen that Negroes are in general characterized by levity, excitability, and great emotionalism. They always say melanated people don't have emotional intelligence, all right? This is something that Caucasian people think. And look around your neighborhoods. Some of you that live in Black neighborhoods, you'll see that motherfuckers is ruled by their emotions, right? We don't want to be those people. They are found eager to dance whenever they hear a melody, all right? The real reason for these opinions is that, as has been shown by philosophers, in the proper place, joy and sadness are due to expansion and diffusion of the animal spirit. Sadness is due to the opposite, namely contraction and concentration of the animal spirit, okay? So he's saying joy and gladness are due to expansion, right? And diffusion, meaning the lowering of the animal spirit. Sadness is due to the opposite, contraction and concentration, right? The coldness of the animal spirit. Okay. It says a drunken person experiences inexpressible joy and gladness because the vapor of the spirit in his heart is pervaded by natural heat, right? When you drink liquor, liquor is called spirits. Liquor heats your body up, right? You know, in this heat, if you drink liquor, you're going to get drunk really fast, right? Really, really fast in this heat. If you're outside drinking liquor, you'll get drunk really fast. Okay. The vapor of the spirit in his heart is pervaded by natural heat, which the power of the wine generates in his spirit. The spirit, as a result, expands, and there is joy. Okay. Now, Negroes live in a hot zone. We're originally from hot climates, Africa, the Caribbean, Haiti, et cetera, right? Come to America, okay? I know you were already here, right? But remember, the earth was one Pangea, is one whole at one point, right? But all the old bones and the fossils and the biggest resources are in the central Africa. And if you put everything together, all the continents, they come together like a puzzle piece through continental drift. This is what they're not telling you when they tell you you come, you know, you were already here, right? And a lot of that is bullshit to get you to subscribe. And anyway, Negroes live in a hot zone. Heat dominates their temperament and formation. Therefore, they have in their spirits an amount of heat corresponding to that in their bodies and that of the zone in which they live. In comparison with the spirits of the inhabitants of the fort zone, theirs are hotter, consequently more expanded. Okay. So they're saying that because you come from hot zones, right? This heat causes expansion and diffusion of the animal spirit. This is why, even in the midst of the George Floyd, you see melanated people still want to hug cops, still want to dance with cops, still want to be at peace with cops, because we come from a people of heat. We come from solar energy. We are solar beings. We are solar, right? We are the vanguard. We are the kings and queens of the universe. It's not a knock on people from other cultures that practice spirituality. It just is going to take them longer and much more effort than it is going to take, or it will take us, right? It's just like somebody who was born, you know, to be a piano player, right? And they got a piano early, right? It's the same thing. We got our pianos early, right? It may take you got a piano at 18, right? It's going to take you longer to learn how to play the piano, all right? So it says, in comparison, so it says, as a result, in comparison with the spirits of the inhabitants of the fort zone, theirs are hotter. So it's saying your spirits, your melanated spirits are hotter and consequently more expanded. As a result, they are quickly moved to joy and gladness. They are merrier. Okay, excitability is the direct consequence. Okay, so that's this book right here, the Mukaddimah. And if you look this up, you'll actually hold on, let me well, y'all saw this earlier, but it's called the Mukaddimah. You could look that up. And it's a book, and the reason I got into that, I even got that book, is because I saw Mark Zuckerberg reading it and talking about it. I was like, why the fuck would Mark Zuckerberg be reading it? There must be some gems in there. And there is. So heat is expansive, right? So we are in a hot environment right now, a hot zone, right? The solar flares, record heat, record times, you know. All people are stepping into who they truly are. They're I am, right? All these strikes, you know, transit strikes and UPS strikes and actor strikes, right? Just hilarious. All the things that I showed you in all these slides, right? Ice Cube talking to Tucker, right? People stepping into who they truly are and doing what the fuck they want to do unapologetically, and regardless of the backlash, right? Whether you agree or don't agree, it doesn't matter. What are you doing with your life? How are you taking the next steps? All right. I don't see any I don't see any questions. So I'm gonna get up out of here. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your energy. I appreciate the love. Again, tap in with me tomorrow. We are going to go in, okay? Me and the Zodiac Queens. This is going to be a great one. And I'll see y'all on the next one. Rob Blackstorm, Alen, much love. I love y'all. Thank you for tapping in with me. Hit that like, hit that shares, hit that subscribe. Tell somebody about this. Share this with somebody, all right? Tomorrow, Sunday, they ain't got nothing to do, right? Let them watch this, all right? It's 3 hours, but I know I gave you enough value for your time. I know that for a fact. On this one. Peace, power, and prosperity. Rob Blackstorm. One love.